Yeah,
285.
Okay, this feels good. I have a really good feeling.
Number. I like that. 285.
I have a very good feeling about today.
I feel awful about it. Something's going to happen.
Okay. And
No, I feel
this
good.
is good, though. It's going to disrupt. I feel like this is the disruption episode.
Why? Because I'm on it?
No,
What does
yeah.
that mean?
No. Like,
Yeah,
we
now
dropped
we're
a new
gonna get
chemical
to
into our cauldron, and I don't know what's going to come out of it, but
Volatile.
but boy, is it going to be good.
Implicatively a volatile chemical. Thanks, man.
I like that. This could be tough then, because I get introspective. I get introspective.
Why are you sending yourself as like the
No,
hardest
this
thing
could be
on
this
earth?
could be tough then.
Yeah.
No, but you came with a Bukowski shirt, and that's
That
a
was
statement.
That was
man.
for you guys.
No, and I
That's it.
appreciate
Yeah,
that, man. He's the one that got me in. He was the doorway
my
for
dude.
my poetry, flourish.
I honestly, like, that was probably my first love, too.
Yeah.
Was his stuff. Just like the, I mean, as you know, everything that was raw about it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean,
yeah,
in terms
man.
of writing and stuff. Changed my songwriting, my approach to
I
it.
believe
Getting into that in a very big way, being way more transparent and less, utilizing metaphors, but in a not so poetic way. You know, really just being honest.
Right.
That was the coolest part about it. The way that it's said.
Dude, that made me think of a great question. What is your first like artistic love?
Ooh, artistic love.
Wait. You getting podcast and then we ask you
Just
stuff?
talk. Hey, dude.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome back. Welcome home.
5 years experience?
You are here podcast
Yeah.
episode
just asked
285. It's a great question.
I just asked the greatest question in podcast history.
No, great
and
question.
you cut me off.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just we're recording it. I
Welcome
want to get it
back.
out. O'Hagan Career Coaching.com. Guys, I know the job market out there is slim. I know you're nervous. You've already got this interview lined up, but you're not sure what to wear. You have some concerns about, formulating your best answers for questions that you don't even know they're going to ask. I'm telling you, the guy that we have for you is Coach Jim O'Hagan at O'HaganCareerCoaching.com. If you want, go check out the website. He's doing one-on-ones. There's certain plans that you could sign up for. It will all be personalized to you for your experience to get you the job. He's trying to coach you up for the best opportunity for that job. He's got 30 plus years of experience. He has worked hand in hand with hiring teams of people. The guy's done it. He knows how to get you the job, and he's going to basically turn you into the best version of yourself for that opportunity. So go visit O'HaganCareerCoaching.com and go get coached up.
Guys,
Bro,
if you're trying to learn how to act, let me tell you right now, AnytownActorsLab.com. Dude, I'm going to point you only to the one and only Adam Louder, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas area if you're looking for in-person classes. But if you're trying to make it into the online classes, it's going to be tough, but he might let you in. Learn how to act truthfully under imaginary circumstances.
That's right.
That's me looking at Dave.
that's right.
Because that's how you act, truthfully. And it's a dying art form, man. People aren't teaching the same way they used to.
Nope.
But we're trying to keep it alive, man. Through experience, through learning, and we're passing it down. If you're trying to do that, you can learn free on the TikTok right now. They got crazy clips. You're going to learn everything for free. But if you want a free consultation, hit up the website, AnytownActorsLab.com, and start becoming a better actor today.
For free?
Shout out to the patrons, patreon.com/YouAreHerePodcast. If you're trying to throw us a bone, if you're trying to support your boys,
Come on.
the only way to do it,
I need new shoes.
podcast
I need new shoes.
on Patreon. Dave's wearing his Crocs from 50 years ago.
Come on, man.
I heard they're the original pair of Crocs.
There's holes in my
I've
socks.
never seen them before. His socks are pulled all the way down.
I need help.
They got
man.
holes in them.
I need help.
Guys, we need help. We're reaching out
It's charity.
to the people. Yeah,
please,
it's charity.
please,
We
please, sir.
We would greatly appreciate it.
Come
We're
on.
so poor.
No, we love you.
But thank you so much to everyone who signed up already. Patreon.com/YouAreHerePodcast.
Boom.
If I may mediate, it was the greatest question of all time, and that's why your friend and colleague was making sure that the cameras were rolling to ensure that it was in fact recorded and documented.
Welcome back.
There is love there. You're welcome.
Welcome back. Welcome home.
I'm here to mediate the boys.
Thank you.
You're Here podcast, episode 285. Thank you guys so much for being here.
We're back.
Let me just take a deep breath. We're back. Oh,
Like-
it feels good. Oh,
like
it
and
feels
subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Good. Hey,
It feels
man.
great.
Like and subscribe.
Right away, you gotta
Blow
get 'em.
off.
No, because I want them to click the buttons. Click them.
We gotta.
It's about me and him today.
Hey, I don't like that.
Sorry.
You should have put Walter first.
I always
Thanks.
start with me,
Thanks, Mike.
dude. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I
You know I'm kidding.
I know.
Guys, welcome back.
I am the guest.
Welcome back.
After all.
Welcome back, guys.
Said it.
Glad to have you both here.
Glad to be.
Thank you.
Glad to be a part of this.
Dave, what do we got?
Thank you, guys.
We have music aficionado, versed very well in the art form of music, and we're going to dive into that and many
We
other
call
things
him a
today.
multi-hyphenate.
Multi.
I like that. I like that.
I always hear that.
No, I
word.
like
always
that.
hear
I like
word.
that. Multi-hyphenate.
I don't know what that
There's
means.
a lot of hyphens.
Hyphen. All right.
Walter
I like that. That's the
Kazmier
first time that's ever happened in my
is
life. Right
in
away.
the building. Walter
guys.
Kazmier, welcome to the show, man. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys sincerely for having me.
Dude, of course,
honored to be
bro.
here.
We have had, I feel like, many podcasts for the last couple of years at the cafe. So this is like,
So cool.
it's been coming for a long time.
Yeah,
I love it.
for sure.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
honored. I'm so glad to be
Yeah,
here.
dude.
I
How are
dipped out on you guys the first time I flaked out. So
No, well,
Oh.
you're back. You big timed us a little bit, but now
Yeah.
you're back.
I had to put
You're
you in
the
your
rock
place.
star.
There's got to be
You
like,
did.
you know what I mean? I gotta
And there is a
lay the
higher
groundwork.
Yeah. You let us
know?
know, like, I'm here. You guys are
Yeah,
still
it's
here.
professional
You gotta
strategy.
Yes, yeah. And we took it on the chin, and then we're back.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Shit.
First artistic
Shit.
Love.
love.
Walter, for both of you actually, what is your first artistic love?
And you too, dude. We'll all answer.
yeah.
I'd like to hear yours first, Dave.
First artistic love.
First artistic love.
This is going to sound crazy.
Hmm.
I don't know if it counts. To me, it was art. Winnie the Pooh, man. The
Good call.
My grandma would read the book to me, the series of books. Sometimes she'd like read them while I was falling asleep at her place.
Mm-hmm.
I remember just being like transported, bro. Just zenning out to story, like at home, at peace. You know, could have been hot, cold, could have been a bad day, good day. I was no longer within my body. I was in the experience of Winnie the Pooh, man. I was with Tigger. I was with Eeyore. I was with the little piglet thing. But I remember being like transported. And then my mom would take me to mommy and me classes at the library. And I remember she would take me to those classes and they'd read all kinds of books during those classes. Kudos to mom, man. Mom working full-time, single mom.
Hell yeah.
And she would drag me to these like mommy and me's, dude. Isn't that sick?
That's awesome.
It definitely
actually-
informed why I like story.
Yeah.
That's actually really beautiful.
It's
I mean, you think
sick.
about that like as adults now. It's like, how exhausted are you at the end of the day? And then like, yeah, we're gonna go here and I don't want to see anybody.
Yeah.
Oh.
But for you, you know, willingness to like go there and participate.
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no. I love my
a
mom for
beautiful
that,
thing.
man. Thank you,
Yeah,
mom.
love moms. I love my mother too.
Yeah, dude. What was your first
you know,
love?
it's interesting. I'm glad that you said Winnie the Pooh. It's opened up my eyes too. Certainly reading, definitely like books. There's all kinds. I'm like thinking of them now. I'm drawing a blank, of course, but I could see them. But certainly, I just appreciated like how would you say the illustrations. A lot of the books of it, movies for sure. I was actually huge, absolutely Disney movies and all kind of everything of that nature.
Which
too.
ones were you into?
Dude, Jungle Book, 100%. That was probably one of my favorite. Aladdin. of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
hands down. The Sword in the Stone. If you guys have not seen it,
Sword in the Stone.
Wait, I think I have.
you have not.
Really?
If you saw it, you would know. Yeah, really. It's
Sword in the Stone.
So Sword in the Stone is my favorite, I would say.
I was
It's one
thinking
of the early-
Page Master. You remember that?
I do remember
Pagemaster.
Page Master. I
That's
do
all it
remember
is.
Page
Sorry,
Master.
go ahead.
But no, Sword in the Stone, you have to watch it. It's
Okay.
actually really funny. And it's
Is it
probably
based
the
on King
best.
Arthur?
Yeah.
Okay.
Based on King Arthur as a child, obviously, be Archimedes and Merlin's in it and stuff. And,
Whoa.
it's hysterical. I don't know if it's a nostalgic thing, but there's parts that I still laugh about.
Is it live action then it turns into is
No.
it playing a baseball game and then he goes
No, so
I'm
that's
thinking of something else.
wow. I can't believe I actually know exactly maybe what you're talking about.
Yeah,
That's a Kid in King Arthur's Court.
Yes,
I think
yes,
that
yes,
was
yes,
that
yes.
one.
That was a big one. for
It's
me.
amazing how the memory brings me back.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're uncultured, Mike.
I don't know any of this.
You're swine.
No, that was
Hey,
that
I
was.
immigrant parent.
No.
Wow, it got really, really awful real quick. They love each other. They're just pretending. It's cute. It's cute.
It's cute.
Yeah, no, this was like 100% animation. I think it was one of the older ones that I'm pretty sure it was Disney, but it's
Yeah.
like the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Not too many people know about it. I don't know if it's because it wasn't of the more popular, even though it's popular content and source, obviously King Arthur and stuff, but it's absolutely fantastic.
I know.
But I love those. I love the musicalities of it all. I used to sing.
Oh, yeah.
My mother has absolutely like very embarrassing videos of me singing along with all these things. Would know the words, was so excited about it always, and definitely a consistent watcher. You know what I mean? I think movies in general, like Top Gun, I could reiterate that movie line for line. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I drew planes. Like drawing was the first art. That was it. I was fascinated, you know? So Yeah, I would say all the above, but I think books is probably the first one.
Right
Books and Disney movies, I'd say.
What about you, Mikey? First artistic love.
Dude, I kind of wanted the question to turn into more of like a. I was like, are those things you were super like obsessed with?
Oh, that's different.
You know,
that's different.
Because I feel like artistic love is like I get deeper more than like I remember like Disney movies.
Now, enjoyment or expression were you referring to as well? When you first asked that, I was like, I wasn't sure if you meant like, what did you like to love to do artistically?
I think maybe an expression. So like what it made you want to like, I don't know, just like explore more of like art. Because in my brain, I thought like, I first watched like the Studio Ghibli movies.
Yep.
When you first watched, like you just recently watched that.
Last year, yeah.
But it's like the Japanese movies, like the animated films.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
I remember I watched Princess Mononoke.
Crazy.
I watched it over and over, got a DVD. I like was pirating it. Like, I'm sorry, but I was watching it over and over. Yeah, online, like sitting there watching like a terrible quality video. I downloaded it, put it on my iPod Nano in 25 parts. I watched it all the time.
On the Nano?
Yeah.
You were like this watching
Yes.
it? Wow.
Crazy.
How old were you?
I don't know, like maybe 14, 15, something like that.
So your head wasn't that much smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tiny screen. I was going to say relatively, maybe. You know what I mean? It would have been all right. But yeah.
But I remember like just getting so... like realizing what story can be and what it could do and how I can be like, oh my God, like I just want to be in that world. I want to be this character. I don't know. I made like collages. I like printed out pictures, dude.
Yeah.
I like got construction paper.
Yeah.
Remember construction paper?
Oh yeah.
Like I pasted pictures on there. I wrote like stuff on the paper. Like I don't know what it did to me, but I got obsessed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have like some specific thing like that too.
Mine was, it became film. It was like, I became obsessed with watching movies, and then all kinds of movies. Didn't matter.
Do you have like a specific, like very specific thing?
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Well, it's okay.
Yeah.
I was later in life, though. I was like 15, 16 when I started to like get obsessed.
You can't be embarrassed anymore, dude. Come on.
No, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, play the fool, buddy.
Justin Timberlake?
No, it was... I had watched a ton of movies growing up. I was watching like The Matrix and Godfather. My dad was obsessed with those kinds of movies. We'd watch them over and over and over. And so I was falling in love with like, and I didn't know it. I always loved story, but I was like falling in love with the actors in the films. And I was like, man, how do they do this? How do you fucking make a world like this? And then I saw, this is the weird part, but it was like Disturbia. Do you remember this movie?
Yeah.
Dude.
Heck yeah.
So it's the whole premise is off the Secret Window Alfred Hitchcock old film, but it was like an adaptation of that. And it was like Shia LaBeouf is on house arrest in his teens, and he's stuck in the house. His mom's a single parent. She's never home. And he starts like looking out the window. He's like stuck in the house. So he starts like observing his neighborhood. Beautiful girl moves in next door. Like, who doesn't want that to happen? I'm fucking 16. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. Right. So that like got me into it. And then it was like this he's like, what witnesses a murder? He's like, holy shit, I think this guy, dude, I was upset. I could say every line. I was like obsessed. So after that, I was like, man, I have, whatever this is that dude's doing, like, I need to figure out how to do that. And that's when I started to like in college, like flirt with the idea, like, maybe this is like what I do with my life. Because I always thought I'd just be like, I just like do whatever my dad told me to do, or I'd like landscape like my uncle, or I just didn't have a passion unless it was film, unless it was story, unless it was like acting specifically. And that's what got me into it. It's weird though. Weird entry point.
Dude, I think that is so common, man. Like,
yeah.
Same with my thing. It's like I wanted to be Ashitaka.
I
wanted to be the dude on the elk shooting a bow and arrow, getting the wolf girl.
Yeah, I wanted house arrest.
Yeah.
I wanted the girl next door to move
I could picture you that
Come on,
guy.
I wanted to witness a murder.
I'd be in my bed with my pillow on my head, looking down, pretending I'm him. Like, I'm telling you, it was terrible.
You got to pop the picture up next to us right now of him.
It's pretty awesome, though. I mean, isn't it incredible, like you said before, about the construction paper? Like, like the amount of imagination, you know what I mean?
If I put any of that into school,
Oh,
I'd be great. But I didn't do it.
Said every creative ever. You know
Yeah,
what I
dude.
mean? But that's the
Yeah,
truth.
dude.
But that's so cool to like we created the worlds that we wanted. And it was almost like homages. Like we felt like creating in the way of the things that we loved would bring us closer to it or being able to achieve it.
Yes.
And it was like, yeah, utilizing construction paper, like all this kind of stuff, you know, even myself being obsessed, I would have like scrapbooks of like these instances and like cutouts and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just like one of those things of like really acknowledging it, honoring it, wanting to be closer to it, wanting to be a part of what that is. And
When was it for you? I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off. I'm sorry.
please.
When was
You
it?
should- don't let it happen again.
Sorry, I will not. I apologize. Don't hurt me. When was it? When did it become like something you took and started to be like make an homage to when it came to like music?
Gotcha. So music, I was very much the first. I mean, growing up in music, my father, we always listened to different music around the house. So it was always, my mother was definitely more like the 80s dance, which is, I love synthesizers and all that kind of thing. I love 80s dance music, 90s pop music, 90s alternative music. My father was more of like the classic rock. So Creedence Clearwater, which I love to this day. And it's just like, sure, nostalgia, but like all of that, you know what I mean? A lot of that stuff. You know, some older school country bluegrass kind of stuff, like more of that stuff. So it was like a mixture of all these kinds of things. And opera, of course, my Italian, Andrea Bocelli,
yes,
you know,
man.
cooking dinner, like of course Andrea's on, you know. So all these kind of things. But I remember, you know, always loved music, obviously singing along to Disney, always enjoyed it. And then it was, I have an older cousin who I've always been very close with. He's basically like the older brother I never had. We'd always spend time together. He started getting into music heavily, and it was definitely about, I guess, like the new metal era, you know, growing up. So you had the bands like, you know, Korn, Deftones, everybody, the best time of music. I don't care what anybody says, as far as I'm concerned. You know, and there was certain bands. There's one band, I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but ORGY.
I'm sorry.
ORGY, ORGY.
We will
This is a
not.
PG
No, I'm
program.
not asking
married.
you. I'm not asking you to
This
have
is a
it.
PG program.
If I wanted, if my intent was to have an orgy with you guys, you would know. First and foremost.
Demonetized.
No, I have not heard of the band Orgy.
Okay, so and technically this is a threesome. Like
This would be-
couple,
so
like there
this
would be
wouldn't
more
be an
people
orgy, man.
behind me. I think
There'd
that's
have
how
to
it
be-
works. I'm not sure. Somebody who's an expert can get at me with it. Yo, you gonna be all right?
Oh,
I made Dave blush.
oh God!
I made Dave blush.
He
You see
held
him?
the
Look
thing
how ready
double.
he
He
is right
double
now.
handed.
What?
I don't know what he
do
was
you,
doing.
What do you mean?
Continue. Well, I'm sorry, man.
No, don't be sorry.
He's
It's okay.
immature, dude.
No.
And
If
that's
you,
the thing.
listen, if you were this prudent, I wouldn't mention these things. I would spell it.
So you're talking about orgy.
Orgy.
Yes.
So not the physical act, but the band,
Right,
rather. But
right.
if you guys, it's basically one of the first instances, as far as I'm aware, at least relatively at that time in my life. You had the 80s, you had rock and roll, and electronic music existed separately.
Mm-hmm.
This band, I think you guys have definitely heard this one. They did a cover of Blue Monday by New Order. They were huge in the late 90s, I want to say. But Orgy, they mixed the two worlds of electronic and rock, electronica and rock at the time. And it was the first time I ever heard it. So I hear this, I'm in the car. I remember vividly, I was sitting in the backseat of my car. My aunt was driving. My older cousin was in the front, and he puts this cassette tape in. Because, of course, at that point, you had, you know, albums on it, but they used to do this thing where, like, you had the single, the big hit single, and then on the reverse side, there was, like, the second single or a remix of the single. And it was like a promotional cassette tape. So instead of downloading singles, you got a single on a cassette. So we had this thing. So it was an Orgy Blue Monday. And I don't know this. My cousin puts it in and I'm listening and I'm like, I remember how the car smelled. I remember what it was, a sunny day. I was in the back and the right. And it was just like, what the hell is this? Like, I didn't even know what to do with myself. I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like the guitars there, but they don't sound like the guitars I heard on Creedence Clearwater. They don't sound like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I hear the electronic, but it's so much heavier than like Donna Summer or, you know, whatever the case. I was like, I don't know what this is. And I was fascinated. And I asked my cousin, I was like, you know, Ren, do you mind if I borrow this cassette? Oh yeah, no problem. Like I have a copy of it because we used to be, you know, copies or whatever. I had the thing. I probably still have it somewhere. I became obsessed.
Wow.
And even just their look. I mean, I come to admire them. I had the opportunity to meet a few of them actually.
Whoa.
And perform with them and stuff. There's sweet guys, and yeah, it's amazing how it comes
Full circle.
Never disclosed this to them personally because I don't want to be like, hey, by the way, like I was obsessed with your band, but like it was really is a beautiful thing. Like the guitar player,
shout out Blue Monday.
Yeah.
Shout out ORGY.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one guitar player, both guitar players for sure, but their look was different. It was futuristic. It had this absolutely goth element, but like 80s. Everything that is cool now, they were embodying.
Wow.
And the music, absolutely incredible. The production, as far as musicality goes, absolutely brilliant. And they had a look to them, but their guitars were all custom. They had all these like wild, crazy looking guitars that I had no idea what was going on. The one guitar player, he played a guitar synth that most people don't even know exists. I think it became cool on like Instagram. Somebody played on something and everybody's like, oh my God, but it's been around for a while. This guy, Amir Darak is the name of the guitar player. And not only is he a brilliant guitar player, but his use of technology in music and all of them, the pedals they would use. And you get nerdy and you become passionate about it. You study these things. Like, what do they use? What kind of this? What kind of guitar is that? What kind of pickup? And then a lot of that is my just trying to find out what the hell that stuff is. It's like, that's where a lot of the education comes from. And, so you had these weird guitars that were guitar synths. So you were playing guitar, but then it was hooked up to a synthesizer and you could play synth on guitar, not a keyboard. And it blew my mind. And that's when the technology aspect mixed with the musicality, I was just fascinated. It's like everything looks so cool. They look cool. They sound cool. I want to play guitar. Like that was that. I will say, however, interestingly enough, if I may make one more point, the first album that I ever became, I think, fascinated with without knowing was Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill.
Whoa. Whoa.
I've heard of it.
You guys familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that one, rewind a little bit if you don't mind. You can cut a lot of this out because I'm talking about it. I'm going down memory road. But
bro.
Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill. My mother had the album. We listened to it in the car one day. This was a couple years before. I must have been like 4 or 5 years old. I'm not even kidding. Listening to the album, I guess whenever it came out in the 90s. So listening to the car, fascinated. And I was like, and my parents had bought me a boombox for like my birthday, like a little, as we used to get.
Wow.
So, I asked my mother, I was like, hey, ma'am, can I borrow that CD that we were listening to? Yeah, sure. You want to listen to it? Yeah, I want to listen to it by myself. Oh, and my mother gave me a pair of like Sony headphones. So every night for years, doesn't matter if like people were staying over to watch me or whatever the case, falling asleep, I put the headphones on and I would fall asleep to that album start to finish every night. Every night. And it was like, and it didn't dawn on me until like people started asking me until I started doing this professionally, like who inspired you to write music or like whatever. And I would always go to ORGY was more of the conscious effort to like play guitar, do the cool things, get the technology, get the girls, all that kind of stuff. That was a failure, that part. And then and it was basically
we'll get into that.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Just
I don't know. Are you gonna blush again?
No.
Just I don't know if you're ready to get into that.
Married, dude.
We just had an orgy.
We just had an orgy. I'm exhausted.
Thing.
But it was one of those things. That album, there was Dave Navarro, guitar player for Jane's Addiction.
Yeah.
Also,
oh, hell yeah.
So he played on that album. Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers played on that album. It's one of the only albums with like a harmonica solo that's not Blues Traveler. That's like rock and roll. All the production things that would occur where like the one song, Ought to Know, You Ought to Know, whatever, the part where it's like...
You ought to know.
Yeah. So she gets up to that point in the song where it's like, why are you so petrified of silence? How do you can you handle this? And then the music just stops. And then she just comes in with her vocal. That's like one of the first time, at least from my aware, even going back and listening to whatever music's around, it's like one of the first instances of like a production technique that's like, yeah, just drop the music real quick. It's just
how
like...
How brave is that?
Yeah. And everything sounded amazing. They were using like all the loops of the time, like trip hop loops, but like in a real drum set style with all these players, like top notch harmonica solos. And her voice was just, I think I was just fascinated by her as an artist. She was so raw on that album.
Yeah, dude.
One of the greatest performances of all time.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's fantastic.
I don't know. So
that's
I think subconsciously that was like,
oh, of course.
I want to write and produce, like, what is this? I want to make this.
Dude.
And it wasn't until very recently that I found out that those two played on that album, that actually featured on that album. And I blew my mind.
I was gonna ask you, and you just answered it very well, like and thoroughly. Like, what songs spoke to you when you were young, like that meant something to you, even now when you look back on them? You know what I mean? Like, for me, like that experience was my mom would, you know, in her little Nissan. In her Mitsubishi Galant. I'd be in the back of her Mitsubishi Galant. And I remember I was like 5. We were headed to pre-K. She'd always play one of two things. She'd play Rod Stewart. So she'd play like a Maggie May, which to this day, if I hear, I get emotional just thinking about it. And then Dire Straits.
Oh, hell.
Like a Romeo and Juliet or something. She was obsessed with these two like artists, groups of artists. And to this day, dude, if I hear that stuff, you know, that cheesy, like, hey, Romeo, hey, Juliet, it nearly gave me a heart attack. You know, like I hear that and I'm like, fuck, man, some part of that still lives within me. That nostalgic moment with me in the back seat, like pretending I'm in a music video and like really vibing to the song while my mom, young, like blonde woman is like cruising, singing with me, driving to pre-K, you know?
Yeah.
I was just wondering for you guys have any like nostalgic thing, music, some kind of song that still speaks to you when you hear it?
Oh yeah, man.
What would it be?
I recommend everyone listening, and you guys too, just make a playlist of all the songs your parents used to listen, all the stuff. Me and my brother did it. It's insane.
That's a great idea.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
My parents listen to a wide range of a lot of things, but I think the thing that really like touched me, and I still like go back a lot of times, is Electric Light Orchestra.
Wow.
The Time album.
Hell yeah.
Rain is Falling.
Wow.
Just, I don't know, man. There's something about that.
Oh my God.
It took me to see them too. Like,
wow.
Oh, that must
like when I was older.
So cool.
Man. There's something, because my dad is like, he used to play like in a band like heavy metal in Poland. Like,
Oh, really?
Oh, big
yeah,
time.
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah.
Rock star.
He just shreds on the guitar all the time.
Oh, that's
Same professional soccer player too.
Yeah.
Is that
He's
all?
killing it.
Yeah.
Just a great dad.
Great dad.
There you go. Amazing.
Greg.
That's so cool, though.
But
That's great.
there was so I would, you know, I'd be in the car, I'd hear a lot of metal stuff like this, Dream Theater, Tool, you know what I mean, a bunch of stuff. But I remember like this Soft Side, this Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's like I used to go with him a lot for like shoveling snow around like properties and stuff. It's kind of stuff I'm doing right now. Is like I manage the properties and stuff, and he would be doing that, and he'd like take me like my whole life, me and my brother, and you know, like 2 a.m. to go shovel snow, and plow, you know. So he'd always be playing music and stuff. So we'd be going through all of it.
That just stays with you, man.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
that stayed with me, and also like we'd go on me and my uncle and my dad and my brother, we'd go on fishing trips, and this is so random, but they would just play Black Eyed Peas album.
Wow.
And just like, I think it's the self-titled, I think. And that was just the soundtrack every year, every fishing trip.
Wow.
Like 3 a.m. waking up, just blasting it. Like, I don't know why.
No.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah, I don't know
That
why.
I mean, great album, but that's
I don't
that's
know.
wild.
I don't know.
That's
Just-
so cool.
Yeah,
I
dude.
remember that, like, yeah, always.
My dad was big on Luther Vandross.
Oh, my dad too.
And we would just
Dude,
vibe
the
out.
song "Dance with My Father." My dad,
Oh.
my dad. I've never seen him like. I don't know,
don't
feel
even.
something.
I
to a
can't even
song.
think about.
I feel
your
like if
dad.
that song was played right now, they would see like 3 grown men cry.
Yeah,
Like, that would
100%,
happen.
100%.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man.
Probably.
Wow.
What about you, buddy?
Honestly, I mean, and I would say it's interesting. I actually just had this conversation with my buddy I was telling you about like the relationship, the innate and like symbiotic relationship between art and nostalgia.
Yes.
Like what makes something art, the nostalgia associated with it, and vice versa. You know, it's always like an amazing thing that's like, it's like the closest thing to like smell, like how you remember scents. You know what I mean? Always bring you back to something.
It permeates something in the past.
It's exactly like that. Like it brings you right back to how you felt, what you were thinking, what you were doing, who you were with, who your friends were, all that stuff. Music does the same exact thing. It's a really incredible thing how that happens. But I would say, I mean, there's definitely a lot, anything by Fleetwood Mac or Stevie Nicks from Moms, I would say. And, you know, a couple others, but like Simple Man, Leonard Skinner.
Wow.
That's one that's always like, and anything CCR, anything of that nostalgia, I guess you could say. It's like, you know, CCR, like I typically don't listen to music when I'm driving because I do
Doing all
music.
that.
So it's always listening to it, always in that way. And it's difficult to shut the technical brain off. So if I'm listening to something, especially something new, it's always like, oh, what? Oh, yeah, I know that snare sample. I know that. So it's like, even if I try, it's like, I'm still always thinking like, like, man, they got this mix sounding great. It's like, shut up. So listen to CCR is something nostalgic. I can just enjoy music. I can just enjoy it. I'm not wondering what they're doing or why, because I never thought of that then.
Yeah.
I just know it to be this good feeling thing. So like to relax if I'm on a like long drive and I want to listen to tunes, CCR.
Wow.
So anything old.
This is interesting to me, man. I think if you are a participant in the creative art form that you are a part of, it can, and I've from experience, like it becomes something that makes it, you become a version of yourself that makes it almost a little more difficult sometimes to just sit back, shut off the technical brain, and just enjoy it for what it is.
100%.
Because you've pulled the curtain back so many times.
I would imagine it's the same for you with acting.
If I see bad lighting, if I see a bad performance, if I see something where I don't agree with, like, I don't know how this was, like, it's hard for me sometimes to not be like, well, they should have done that, oh, whoops, that's a mistake there, like,
right.
To turn that part of your brain
inspiration
off.
of like, oh, 100%. I need to try that. I need to do that. Oh, that sounds
too,
great.
the good side of it too.
Right.
I'm always kind of like, it's hard for me to just sit back and watch a movie.
It's always an analytical experience.
Yes.
Regardless, even if you try not.
Yes, dude.
The one thing I will say, though, is that, and I'm sure it's similar with any art form in that regard, is that when I do hear a song, whether it's newer, like let's say something new that just completely blows my mind.
Oh, dude.
I know even more so, I guess it's more of a stand for me personally.
That's true.
It's significant when I don't think about it. If I hear the song and I don't
100%
think about anything,
absolutely,
I know that it's good because I'm not paying attention to the superficial aspect.
That's right. It's taking that away for you.
I'm just hearing and perceiving the song for the purpose of enjoyment and appreciation. That's how I know it's a good song for me personally.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is something special. I gotta listen to more of their stuff or whatever.
From like, not to toot my own horn, but like from studying human behavior for so long, when I see a false note, when I see someone lying, I can't unsee it. On screen, like in a play, in a film, whatever, in a music video, I can't not see it. My bullshit meter is just like, you're forcing it, you're pushing it. Yeah. But when I'm like sitting back and I'm like taken with this person just fucking opening up and being vulnerable moment to moment, instinctively, impulsively, I'm blown away, dude. I can see that for what it is and be moved. So I in that way I relate. In that way I relate to you, and that made sense to me.
Absolutely. And if I may too, I mean, as creators, I think we create, if we're going to create for someone or some audience, I think we create more for other creators in a lot of ways. Like I will speak for like with regards to the audio industry, at least for what I see or for myself, it's like, I think we're always just trying, not in a competitive way or maybe competitive, but for sportsmanship in the name of good faith. It's
healthy.
Like healthy, competitive, exactly. Like always pushing and inspiring one another, let's say.
That's right.
So I think it's a really cool thing in the music industry is that there's always like, how would you say, like bounds pushing in that regard. And we're like doing these things that nobody would really, any listener would not notice or would not care or would not know to care, right? Like ignorance is bliss. How do you know certain techniques if you're doing?
But your peers would know.
Exactly. And that's like the fun part where it's like, I'll hear certain things and be like, they did that? Yo, that's so cool.
Sick. Yeah.
You know, what balls? You know what I mean? Like that's like something like a weird technique or a weird effect or something that's like really, it's cool. And I think that in those moments, that's where it's like we make it for other creatives to appreciate. Definitely. Moments of like coolness.
Definitely. Definitely, dude. Yeah. Man. That's interesting.
What's like one thing about like what you do that you struggle with the most?
What do you do? And then that's part B.
It's good. That I struggle with the most?
Yeah.
I'm gonna think about
part
that.
of maybe like the industry, because we always talk about like
we do. We always get
and I know music is like
Comet Pizza.
Even,
we get into the conspiracies.
Sometimes even worse, I think, than film and that
music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, but I mean, in some degrees, But basically, what I do, I am a music producer. Been doing this in this vocation, I guess. Graduated in school 2009 for audio. So I've been doing it since then. So I guess a while. And I've had the opportunity to be a part of 3 studios. The first one was in Jersey City for quite a while. Second one was in Weehawken, both thanks to my mentor and dear friend who kind of has helped me out. Like on the first get-go, I was interning and apprenticing, if you will. And then I've been at my current studio, as I've expressed to you guys, for the past 10 years. 2014, started building it out and so on. So I've been doing it for a long time. But essentially, it's audio engineering. Everybody pretty much has to wear a lot of hats, regardless of what industry you're in. Like, you got to be the actor, the writer, the producer, the director, the editor.
Right.
Same thing applies here. You know what I mean? Where it's definitely at the starting point, working with artists from the instance of, hey, well, I have an idea for a song, or I'd like to try to be an artist. I'd try to make it into a song, to an already established artist and bringing it further. But everything from songwriting, arranging, production, the actual physical recording of it, the editing, mixing, and mastering, and performance and everything as well. So that's what I do.
And then
music producer.
Part B of that question.
Part B. What's like is there an aspect of what you do that you like struggle with, that like you could get rid of it? You would, enjoy things a lot more.
Well, you know what it is, man. I mean, it's interesting for me, from my experience personally. What I think what I don't like about the industry, I feel like is what most people don't like about anything and everything they do. A lot of it is the bureaucratic stuff is like kind of like an obnoxious whatever. For me personally, I find the biggest obstacle, I guess, is the conscientious aspect of facilitating music creation and production as a business. I feel like that's probably the most difficult to circumvent or kind of like work through in that way. And it has been through for a lot of the career, but more so have been more mindful, I would say more recent years, but certainly first starting, it just becomes with regards to like scheduling, pricing, negotiations, personality types, and so on, like communication. It's that kind of instance, the conscientiousness of I guess drawing the difference between I'm creating and I'm doing it because I love it and I would do it anyway, even if I wasn't making money, but I'm participating in society, so I have to find a way to make a substantial income some way or somehow. And so a lot of it comes out, I'm sure, the same way, where it's like, okay, well, I'm going to make this song for you. Well, how much do I charge? I don't know. I mean, I'm going to make the song. How valuable is it to you? What, that kind of thing. And then it's like, well, how do I make this? Because I'm going to put my blood, sweat, and tears, all of my experience, years worth. I'm just going to have fun with it, do a whole bunch of things, use a lot of really expensive tools.
How do you price that out? Yeah.
Right. So it's a matter of like, it's like anything else. And it's with any creator. Like that's what you do. So it's always that back and forth. And especially I would speak for myself starting in the career in this industry. And I'm sure as many people starting and still are, it's difficult to do that. It's difficult to kind of like price that, because at the end of the day, for you, it's priceless. An artist comes to me with a song or an idea and something they want to express, and they're giving me the responsibility. They're honoring me with the responsibility of bringing their dreams to fruition and life. The amount of artists who just say, hey, here, I'm going to put my entire future, all my hopes and dreams, and my most vulnerable feelings and thoughts and words, that blood, sweat, and tears, literally, I'm going to put them in your hands, and I trust you. And I'm going to let you take care of that. It's priceless.
Yeah.
It's a priceless experience, and the result is priceless in that regard. So, being conscientious, like I said, I guess it's been a while now, but more recent years, certainly after that, you have to monetize in some kind of way. So it's like, how much time? That can be monetized, right? You gotta like thinking about it in terms of how much you get paid hourly. What's a substantial hourly rate for what you do to make a living and participate as a human being in human society in 2024. So like that aspect of it, but also, I think that's the most difficult aspect of, like I said, like just kind of circumventing the whole situation. I mean, the charging pricing or you know, all that kind of stuff. That's, like I said, not so much of the thing these days, but more so that aspect of bringing it into a business or thinking about considering or looking at what you love to do and what you would do anyway in terms of a business and a more left-brained thing as it exists. You know, I think that's kind of for me personally, you know.
That's the hurdle.
I don't know. Does that make any sense? I don't know if I'm running around. So I'm trying to find the right words to articulate.
No, you made perfect sense, bro.
You know,
that's a hurdle for an artistic human being. Yeah. Like, you want to be paid a fair wage for something you find invaluable, something that means so much to you.
Well, and it's not even so much about the pay. That was just an example within that. But it's also like the instance of, you know, I mean, I guess like I'm trying to find the words. I mean, I'm utilizing that as an example, but it's way more than that.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. Give me one moment if you
can. Take your time.
I'm trying to articulate to formulate what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like, I don't know. Continue on.
You think it's kind of like putting, like, it's like transferring a value to something that is not, it's like not like scientifically able to be like
numerical.
Value. It's not tangible.
Like, not tangible.
It's not tangible. The only instance of tangibility is in fact the time one spends on it, which is where it found value. Absolutely.
But then even that is like, okay, but that's like the bare minimum of like, so we're on bare minimums.
Bare minimums.
You know,
right.
Which is like
time spent.
We shouldn't really be on bare minimums.
Well, I mean, but it's, again, how do you judge the worth of the thing?
I think sometimes I feel like a fool that I still think about about these things. I feel like I could literally just be like, just throw out whatever and be like, yes or no.
You could.
But like, I always second guess. I always, like, even, you know,
I know,
like we always do it.
I know, man.
You know what I mean?
It's difficult.
But I think that's like for me, it feels like I have like a losing mentality for that sometimes.
You could put it that way.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate? What specific?
Like, there's been jobs I've taken where I'm like, I don't know. For me, we talk about it a lot, but I think I just like working and doing things that, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, like they're doing me a favor to like hire me.
I'm lucky enough to be working.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's like an equal transaction.
Right.
It's not like you're this, you know, nuisance to society and you're not offering something.
No, that's an extreme.
Yeah,
that's an extreme.
Yeah, but it is always that.
But essentially, that's kind of when we downplay even just like any doubt.
Absolutely,
kind of doing that.
Absolutely,
you are. You know, you're letting go a little bit.
Yeah,
which we shouldn't be.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, man. You can manifest your worth, and I think if you're slowly, little by little, in every transactional conversation, where it's like, this is what I can offer you, and is it okay if it's this? Like, and you're doing that over and over and over, and then maybe your life becomes that a little bit. You know, maybe that's how you are perceived, and that is what you will be paid, and that is how you will be valued.
Yeah,
that's a good point, man.
I gotta bring up we just did the recording with Jim before this.
yeah.
I have to bring up, shout out Jim O'Hagan.
Shout out Jim.
Shout out.
O'HaganCareerCoaching.com. But he said, what did he say? He said the thing about, like, because he does coaching for, you know, interviews and stuff like that. Like,
you deserve
the thing you do not do is say anything negative about an experience you had.
Never.
Because, like, especially if you're trying to get hired, if you're trying to do anything, it's like, you say something like, oh, that wasn't a good experience for me. It's like, oh, well then bye.
Yeah.
You know, like immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and I like the way he kind of flipped it to like, this was tough, but I was able to learn some shit.
Yeah. There's always something to gain.
Get better.
That's right.
You know,
well, it's always perspective.
Yeah.
And I think
it doesn't always have to be, you know, like doesn't have to be a negative thing.
No.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to say, for whatever reason, I don't know. Dave got me really like anxious earlier.
This.
Dave's fault. I'm
It was
sorry.
the orgy.
I'm at a loss
Don't
for
make
words.
It was the
anxious.
orgy.
I'm at a, yeah, it was that.
It was
I've
the
been
orgy
off
thing.
since.
Yeah.
I
Still
can't formulate
thinking
words.
I told you something was going to happen.
I can't formulate. It's your fault.
Said it.
But no, I think it's absolutely. It's definitely mindset, but it has to do like not even in a false way. I guess this is what I'm trying to say. Where it's, I think for oneself, to not give into the negative talk of yourself or that, or looking for complaintiveness. You know what I mean? Instead of like an example, which was popping in my mind when I forgot how to speak there for a moment. Essentially, there's always the question of, for instance, the quintessential, is your glass half empty or half full?
Simple.
So why does there need to be a perspective? Why can't one, unanimous one, be grateful to have a glass and or anything in it to begin with? And just let it be? Why does there need to be a description of emotional approval or disdain or otherwise distaste as a result of an experience?
Yes.
Why couldn't the experience just be the experience? And that's, to that point, it's not so much that you had a bad experience, because yeah, we all have bad experiences. At the same time though, instead of complaining about it, it's like, yeah, that was rough. But that shows that like, yeah, that's life. There's going to be things that are cool and favorable and things that aren't so favorable and uncomfortable and otherwise obnoxious, but it is what it is. It's a matter of accepting and acknowledging that. And I think that shows the awareness of the fact that it is what it's going to be, but I'm going to manage. And that shows leadership, confidence, and how would you say mettle, or what would the word be, like internal mettle? Somethingzation. Anyway, can't think of words. I forgot how to speak, everyone.
No, you're speaking.
It's Dave. I'm telling.
No,
He's making me nervous.
Come on.
But no, that's like literally the characterization, the internal mettle of like just understanding and having that existential and personal awareness that like shit happens.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what it is, perspective. So if you're more geared towards even just making the decision of my glass is half full, like I didn't have a good experience that made me feel this way. It's like, understandably validly so, but in, I guess, the circumstance of a, how would you say, an interview, like probably not the best foot forward in terms of like showing that like, hey, this was bad, but got through it. It's fine. Worked it out.
It's a very Marcus Aurelius way of thinking.
I am very stoic.
Very stoic. Yeah. No, I like this. I mean,
I think so. It's,
I would love to live more so in that camp than in the anxious, I need to receive some kind of like approval from validation. Thank you, Mike. I wanted to ask you, bro.
Ask me, bro.
It was a major. I don't know if it was major or not. When I think of your past going into like being a touring musician, like you're doing you're listening to all that music growing up. You're picking up the guitar. You're learning how to play it. You get to a point in your life where it becomes like the dream starts to become true. Right? Would you say that kind of happened for you? And if it did, what was that like? Was it everything you thought it would be? Was it like, you were meeting women all over the place and like visiting all these cool places you always wanted to go and playing these incredible songs with this like group of people, and you were like, life is fulfilled now, I'm on top of the world? And I want to go further and be like, just ask you when did you decide like, I'm not going to do that anymore for the moment. I'm going to transition. I'm going to get my butt in a studio and I'm going to help other people record their stuff and compose their things. Like removing yourself from the front of it, and putting yourself on not the back end, but like
behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes
right?
of it. Yeah, man.
I mean, ultimately, those were great questions. And it's kind of essentially what we were speaking about the other day in form. But like, I mean, the first part of the question, I mean, having the opportunity to go on tour, be in a signed band, for the time, it was absolutely an incredible experience. It was amazing. I've met so many great people, great friends that I still have to this day, having those experiences, being able to travel to all these places I've never been multiple times, even within the same summer, like all over the States, everywhere. And just play music every night. Show up in a new place every day. You wake up in a different state and you show up at sound check at a new venue. God knows what it's going to be like or where it is. And then you meet those people, and then you go out and walk around and grab a beer and grab a bite and see what the good food is and just meet people. And it's amazing in terms of, I mean, everybody always says this. Every person should go, leave home and go travel and do something. That's the absolute truth. Everybody says that because it's true.
It's true.
And it's one of the, just to know that even just the simplest fact of like, you start on your trip for this tour, right? If you've never road tripped or done that before, you don't really know. It's like the roads just keep going. It's not this trifecta, you know, and perspective is what it brings, right? The trifecta of like home, work, home, friend's house, home, bar, home, Chipotle, or whatever you like. Something, there's just this web that we travel and traverse all day long, every single day. Everything's so familiar, but like the road just keeps going, and there's other places with other people that exist far from you in different ways. And it's amazing to know that the world is, and that's just this country, that's not the world. So that in and of itself, having that opportunity, meeting the people, playing the music, everything that comes with it, absolutely incredible.
What's like the pinnacle moment in that time period?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, there were a couple moments, I think. I don't even know. It was like all relatively, I would say, a pinnacle in that regard, where certainly, like, I mean, you something you strive for your entire life since you're a kid, you know, since I started listening to ORGY and, you know, playing guitar or God knows what.
No, I'm just triple checking with, no, I'm just triple checking with you.
I made Dave uncomfortable again.
No, I was just triple checking with
you. Dave is very immature, guys.
No.
Yeah, we're going to keep going.
This is, I don't really know. I didn't know this.
I just like to have fun.
I like that. Yeah, well, I'm having fun.
Thanks,
you guys having fun?
I'm having a good time.
You guys look so good. I don't know if the camera's doing it justice, but you guys look great.
I'm hiding behind the mic. I feel like
yeah, stop. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You're beautiful.
Oh, thank
he
you,
is beautiful. You guys are great.
Thanks, dude.
But yeah, but it's like, I guess, you know,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I love it.
No, I just playing.
Are you wearing Crocs right now?
This was the, we had
awful. We had this conversation. We're going to get back to that. Yeah.
The Crocs are on there.
Oh, God. All right.
And they're dirty. Yeah. Yeah, well.
Dirty Crocs. Look, I got Toms. I don't know if whatever.
But here's the thing. Don't think I'm not tough.
Dude, you'll be cool one day. We'll hang out more and you'll be cool.
I like that.
Don't think,
Micah
don't
Cruz.
assume
I like that.
the Crocs are on.
Good.
He can't get busy, right?
I'm not assuming anything. That's a fact.
Okay, no, that's
like,
for the
I don't
listeners.
assume that mathematics is like real, you know, like
That's a fact. It's a fact.
you're wearing Crocs.
Crocs are a faux pas.
I'm going to get back to proving that. I'm going to finish answering this question about how I was a rock star. Right?
Please do.
Let me continue.
Please do.
Continue. So, no, I mean, ultimately, to answer the question, it was that instance of like, sure, anytime you start, you have dreams as a kid, right? Your dreams, your hopes and dreams, and it comes to fruition. To have that opportunity, it's amazing. To like have that opportunity, get signed and go on tour. That's what every guitar player and their mother wants to do when they're young, you know, going and practicing, you know, in basements and so on. You get to that point. And the experience itself, having that opportunity, amazing. Wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. In that instance, though, you do realize that, like, you have these dreams, you do this and you accomplish. And they always say, like, you know, there's so many sayings that allude to that. But essentially, once you get what you're looking for, sometimes it's not as amazing or incredible, or maybe it's not as charming as you thought it would be in that regard. And it's not so much a defeat. It's not that wasn't appreciated that instance. But then I realized that's not the end all be all. Okay, I toured, got signed, did the thing. It was an amazing experience, but I have more life to live. Like, there's more to do. There's got to be more
than this.
Well, not even that it was like a lesser thing, but that can't be it. In terms of, I have all this time left, you know, God willing, hopefully so. But that's like, what do I do now? What do I aspire to now? Let's put it that way. This has been the dream. This has been the hope. This has been, but where do I really want to go? And then you realize that, as we had spoken about before, that it's not really, I suppose, let me backtrack, forgive me. That experience proved to me, was proof that actually having something that you want to do, a dream, an aspiration, being able to succeed in it, made me realize that, like, maybe that applies to other things that I want to do. I was able to succeed in this Reich why can't I do it with other things? It was a testament to work hard, persevere, have patience, work harder, keep going, do it. Not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that's what that showed me personally, not to be cliche about it, but it kind of opened my eyes. And at that time, that was when we were just essentially building the studio. We started in 2014. The band that I was in at the time got signed, and we went on one of the larger tours the next year, 2015. So I was still building out the studio, working out of it somewhat. I think I was actually working on the road with one of the first artists that I produced. I had a laptop, and when we were doing sound check, and right after I would play or whatever, another band would go on, I'd be on the laptop producing the song and sending it back and forth to her. So it was interesting. And then as soon as I got back from tour, we were in the studio, and it wasn't even done yet. I think I had the interface, the speakers. I didn't have any of the hardware hooked up. I didn't have any of the sound treatment on the walls, but we were just writing and producing at that point. So it was just like, whatever. Speakers are there, interface, computer, we're good. We got instruments, whatever. And we did 4 songs in 5 days, I want to say. And it was my first time doing that too. Never done that before. Didn't know if it was going to work. Didn't know if it was going to make it. Had so many concerns, but whatever. So it was of that nature. And then being on tour, I realized it's not really, obviously everybody always talks about, musicians and going on tour. It's not very lucrative, at least not for a starting band. I think I had expressed a number to you in terms of what it was, and it's less than underwhelming, or at least that's to say it's far less than that of which one would need to survive in any way, shape, or form. So it's not really lucrative to the extent of just being able to survive. It's not very feasible or fiscally responsible to just, be able to do that, which is fine. Obviously you do other things at the same time, but that was one aspect of it that was tough because obviously, being out on the road, you're just kind of out there. You can't really hold down a job. You can't really do anything unless you're working remotely, and you got to eat, you got to sleep sometimes, you got to, get food, and sometimes a hotel, sometimes a shower if you're good. That was a whole other experience.
That van must have been stanky, bro.
Dude, eight people in a 15-passenger van in like Death Valley, 114 degrees. And that's where we couldn't afford hotels, so we just stayed in the van. And there were some mornings where I would literally, we got kicked out of a Wendy's parking lot once because it was so hot. It was so hot. I had a bunk, or it was obviously the what do you call it? The bench seats in the 15 passengers. So we took the back ones out, made like most bands do, rigged a bunk out of it. So the singer would be up on top. The bass player, the guitar player, they called it the dungeon underneath, or whatever the case in the back. And
sorry,
this is all foreshadowing, Mike. This is all foreshadowing. I'm letting Dave know without letting him know.
Wink, wink.
It's going to get really interesting.
Here we go now.
Mike's got a special room in the studio.
This is for the Patreon members. Yeah, continue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
We do have a Patreon.
We do monetize.
Patreon.com/YourHerePodcast.
There you go.
Record after.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Cameras in that room. Yeah. The big camera,
Oh, man.
So, yeah. So I used to have Ben. So I used to have a bench. Yeah, I had to switch to the tour manager at the time. This guy, Dom. Love him to death. He's one of the greatest people I ever know. Greatest people I know. So I decided, I was like, dude, I got to sit in the front. Please, for the love of God, just let me sit in the front. See, I can't go. I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. I haven't slept in days. We're playing shows. I'm full of makeup. I don't feel good. Just let me see. Yeah, no problem, Walt, sweetheart. So I sit in the front seat. That I couldn't even fall asleep, and I almost got. Have you ever been so tired that you're angry?
Yes,
that
dude.
You can't fall asleep. Like, dude, you're almost like, I'm gonna fall asleep if it's the last thing I do.
I used to wake. I used to be trying to sleep so mad. I remember being a kid, hitting myself in the face. That angry.
Wow.
That angry. You're the only one that's ever brought that up.
Literally, I'm glad that we share. I used
to be so mad. Go to sleep, Dave.
I never abuse.
You got issues. Got issues. Need
no, it's fine. We all do.
Got
it's
a lot
good.
of them?
That's why we're creative.
Need to talk
Divine
about
Madness. Marcus Aurelius,
Need
right?
a professional.
Divine
That's
Madness.
right. That's right. That's right.
We're all crazy. We have to be in order to make something worthwhile.
You too, right? You used to punch him in the face.
No, Mike used to.
That was normal.
He used to give himself wet willies
to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's what you would say too when you slept.
Yeah. I like that. I'm gonna build it. That's great.
Go ahead,
It's
Walt.
amazing.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, don't be sorry.
We
This is
gotta rib
beautiful.
each other.
Don't care about what.
No,
don't
no.
mind what I'm
We gotta
talking about.
rib
This is way
I
better.
mean, we're friends, but we gotta rib each other a little bit, right?
Continue. Walt.
Right, Mike?
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mike. If someone would stop talking and it's
Sorry. That's me. I'm gonna move.
no, it's all right. Please, it's only the 5th time it's happened.
Finally. Finally.
Damn it.
I like him. He doesn't know if I'm serious or not sometimes, even though like he knows I'm not.
I take everything as if it's real, dude.
Yeah, don't.
Hold on. I have a problem now.
Uh-oh.
So
Express.
you have like 3/4 socks with Crocs on.
I do.
Now what is that? What's going on here?
No, so it falls off my heel, but I don't pull it back. And I know people get upset with me about that, but when my sock rolls under my heel,
Don't tell me this. Don't finish your statement. That's the most uncomfortable
we're
thing
gonna
I've
move
ever heard
on.
in my life.
I let it sit.
Are you out of your mind? You're a
move on.
psychopath.
I'm tough.
So you walk
let
around
life happen,
with these
and I let
Crocs
life.
on these streets
I'm a
that
tough.
dirty, and then
tough
you let the sock roll down. and
When
you're
I'm
sitting-
I'm not saying,
Bro.
when it rolls, I don't go like this.
you know there's fluids
Oh.
out there.
Don't say fluids. I'm not stepping in fluids.
There are fluids.
What fluids are
Not
just
only that,
floating
No,
around?
man.
I'm
And let me tell you, he works at the cafe in those.
I do, and you know that. And
I
you
know,
see
I
me
made
in
the
there.
comment, which we're going to get to in a moment. And I hope I share some knowledge. And
Can I be real with you?
No.
I'd rather you not. But
Okay,
go ahead. Go ahead and say
no.
what kind of weird thing.
No, you were about to say something. I
No,
don't-
Crocs are important. Go
No,
ahead.
no. Okay, so they're comfortable, right? They're obviously open. You get air circulation, so you're good in the summer.
Sure.
Are those bootleg Crocs?
No, these are real. Look,
Oh,
come on, man.
sorry.
At least give me that.
They're called Crocs.
They're Crocs. Sorry, go ahead, Walt. Let's get off the Croc conversation, all
The
right?
sock thing bothers me.
I'm
The
sorry.
sock,
like
dude,
it.
seams. How do you let it go under your
Weird.
foot and still function?
Weird. You're
I would-
you're
if
letting
that-
our
everyone's
you're
That's
letting our
happened
guests-
to me when when you drive, I pull over to fix that
No,
shit.
you do not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you do
Are you
not.
a psychopath?
I never
gonna let
you know
your
what?
What do you mean?
I never even get to the point where that
Guys.
happens. I don't know how does that
Okay,
happen.
that
so
life happen?
preventative.
How does
yeah,
life happen?
one has to be proactive.
just
You got
rolls.
dinosaur
You-
feet? What's
you
going
know-
I
on?
got big feet.
That's
I'm a
no
big guy.
excuse. They make big socks and obviously big Crocs
I've
or
never
Crocs.
seen that ever.
Bro, they
What
make.
do you mean,
Listen,
bro?
Look at this.
Your socks. Well, you're wearing fucking the. What are you gonna go play basketball after this, dude? What are
Maybe.
you playing?
Maybe he is.
tennis.
What
You're
is
stepping on a clay court and you're gonna hit a backhand.
Better than stepping in fluids.
Come
in my
on,
Crocs.
man. I'm relaxed.
You do realize that
Stuff
they make
happens.
socks with like rubber backing so they don't slip. That's called being proactive
Now that
and preventative to psychotic behavior.
I'll never do. Right?
I do.
The
It's
rubber
amazing.
backing-
Are you kidding me? It's the best thing in the world. I wore them the other day when I stopped by to get coffee from you. They fit perfectly.
Well-
They went around here. I don't even like these socks because they fit. They lined like this. They were tiny and they have the rubber little pads in the back.
I can
so
only
they don't
say
slip.
this.
So I cannot be a psychopath.
And I understand the construction of those and why they're important. I'm blue collar. I'm as blue collar as a
Dude, I'm blue collar
AKA
too, but how do you let your sock
Dave
go
doesn't
on the
like to
bottom
help
of your
himself.
foot?
Now,
Dave
now-
likes to make it struggle.
I like to introduce a little
He thinks it
struggle
makes
in my
him hard.
life. Yeah.
I
No, don't
understand.
say you
Live-
think.
He's got to
Don't
live.
Don't say you think.
You're
Don't
like
say
a
things.
masochist. I
Here's the
understand. You
thing.
got to
Here's
keep
the thing.
yourself.
Pushy, you
You
know,
can't.
I like to-
You
makes
can't
him
let
feel
yourself.
hard.
I don't
be
want to
too
lose
happy.
myself, man. I don't want to lose myself.
You can't treat yourself to like
Remember-
actual
Yeah.
adult
Remember we talked
footwear.
about the
Treat
beard?
yourself, man.
Remember we talked about the beard? I don't
Yeah.
want to worry about.
You should
I don't
treat
want to worry
yourself,
about
man.
the look of things. I
You
don't
shouldn't.
want
You know what,
You
dude?
to be
shouldn't.
concerned about the sock
I'm gonna-
rolling over
This
the
makes
heel.
me sad. This tells me
Oh no,
that you didn't get socks for Christmas.
I didn't, and I have holes in my socks, bro.
No, I'm sorry.
And you know
I'm
what?
gonna
When's
get
your
you socks
birthday?
for
This is the
Christmas.
truth. And you want the truth?
Yeah.
You want the
I
truth?
don't want you to lie to me.
No one ever taught you how to wear socks.
No. I blew.
Oh, that's.
I
Sad.
had.
Mike,
my-
that's really sad, dude. He's your friend and you never noticed that. How do you?
That's
What
sad.
kind of friend? Dude,
I'm
crazy.
sweating.
come on, you got to help your boy.
Look at my
let's
wall.
see.
Look at Mike's wall. What do you see on my wall? Nothing. There's nothing there.
Right.
Look at all the effort and thought. There's a whole
Oh, this is what
bookshelf.
you were talking to me about.
That's what I was talking to you about.
I'm on your wall.
You're on my wall. Now it's a blank canvas, right? Anything
Okay.
can happen, but nothing's up.
Right. You guys are the perfect complement.
That's right. Now here's the thing. My shoes, I had these really nice shoes I was wearing all the time. Now I'll buy a pair of shoes. I'll wear the shoes till they blow out.
100%.
And that's how Davey rolls. I had the Air Forces, I blew them out.
Not to cut you off, do you buy two of everything that you like? Or not more?
No, always one pair.
Trick. If you find
Buy
something,
two?
buy two.
That's what I should have
Immediately.
done.
All the
Because
time.
now I blew out my Air Forces. I don't feel like going to get the new ones.
Whenever you ever had Air Force?
I had the white Air Forces.
20 years ago.
No, I was wearing the white Air Forces for years. And they blew out. And then I had the Crocs on the backup. And it was summer. And I was like, this is going to be great.
Before I met you?
No, dude. Last year
That's
I had
crazy.
I had
Before we
the
were
white
friends.
Air Force. Watch your podcast.
From 10 years
No, because I
ago.
bought a pair of Jordans and I never wear them. I have a pair of
Mike,
Jordans.
get some shoes.
And you decided to become friends with
So
him.
now
Do you need me to help?
your
Mike.
boy's wearing Crocs,
Mike.
dude, and there's nothing wrong
I
with
really
that.
need to point out that you
You wear
decided.
Crocs and Uggs. And that's
Yeah.
all you
All right,
wear.
Uggs
And
I'm down with.
I
I'm done
love
with
them,
that.
bro. I love
Everything
them.
should do Uggs.
You
I've learned
own
that they
2
make
pairs of
everything.
shoes and they're both slippers.
Brother, I'm married. I don't gotta impress nobody. This is my
This
shoes.
is true.
It's
If
my
you're
shoe
comfortable,
choice.
it's fine.
Why can't you accept me for who I am?
First of all, like I
Right?
said, I mean, you do you.
Am I embarrassing you?
Yeah.
Damn it. And I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry. I embarrassed you.
We're gonna work on this, man.
Damn it, man. I gotta get a
Guys,
motorcycle.
subscribe
I
to the
gotta get.
Patreon.
I gotta start
We
smoking
need to fix
cigarettes.
this.
Yeah,
I
you
need
should. Everybody should start.
Get the
smoking
socks with the
cigarettes.
rubber on the back. I'm gonna work on it, bro. I'm gonna work on my
All right,
image.
2 things. I'm not even so much concerned personally about your Crocs. It's more about the sock
The
thing.
sock,
You
the
need
sock.
to figure that out.
I'll get you some duct tape.
First of all,
Put it on the back
Thank
of
you.
your
I'll
socks.
do the duct
secondly,
tape.
or like that stuff you put on the counter so it doesn't slip.
Yeah,
like that mesh stuff.
The fucking
Just do that.
The rubber.
I'll sew it into your sock.
Okay,
for you.
man.
Secondly, you decided to become friends with Dave.
Did you decide?
Croc era.
Right.
Post.
Dude, I used to
Sneakers.
be clean. I used to have.
You know, I never looked at your feet, man.
That's
I
unfortunate.
never looked at your
and
shoes.
you
I never
should.
looked at your feet.
Do you know
You
that-
really shouldn't.
I should have never looked.
Statistically saying,
There's nothing
women,
to see down there.
when women look at you, the first thing they look at
Is
is,
that right?
is your shoe.
No way.
Why is that?
I
No
read
way.
that because that like dictates your sense of style.
I feel like you heard that in
potentially.
a like a dating book. Like
No,
a
it wasn't
bad
dating
like an,
book. It was definitely something.
That's some pickup artist stuff.
That's a pickup artist. That's or whatever that guy's name. Remember the guy with the top hat? He used to have all the. He used to be like,
What?
you tell a woman she's a piece of shit and she'll never leave you alone.
Oh, that's
You
what he
remember
did.
that? Like he
No,
would.
I don't
he-
remember.
I remember.
This
that,
is back
I
when we
remember
were-
that from Slackers, where what's his face is like treat a woman like dirt and she'll stick to you like mud,
Thank you.
like that kind of thing. That was a great movie, by the way.
That's it.
Slackers, 100%. I don't know. No, I read it somewhere and I was fascinated, and it's probably not true, but. Forever
No, it could be.
since then, I've been insecure about my footwear.
Can
I've
I
been
ask
more
you-
mindfully aware of my
of your
my
what-
sneakers
what's-
and my footwear and how it's put together. Like today, I'm not crazy about it, but it's what I have.
Yeah.
And my AC's down at
Yeah.
work, so I didn't really care at this
Yeah.
point. I didn't resort to Crocs.
It's very.
Make a note of that.
I like that.
Um,
That mantra is very Dave of you. It's what's what I got.
It is what I got. You know that's how I live my life,
love
man.
it.
I don't ask for much. I get my daily bread and I keep it moving.
I'm a mixture of both of you.
You know?
I'm the Pollock and
I love it.
the eye tie. I have the best of both.
Realistically, if anyone really
What-
cares about your like shoes and whatever you wear,
I mean, if you value me because of my shoes,
Yeah.
you know, that's okay.
things might change for you though.
Oh, go ahead.
What do you
Sorry.
think the first thing you do when you see a woman is? What do you see? What do you look for?
Oh,
What do I
Damn.
look for? Or
Well,
what
what's
do
the thing
what do I
that
tend to notice?
I don't know. I wanted to ask you
questions,
too.
bro.
I wanted to ask you too. Something that like, it's like, oh, I value this. When I see a woman, this is what I find attractive right out
Elbows.
the jump.
I go
dude.
to the elbow.
This is
Are
it.
you an elbow guy? I've only known a couple.
There's
of
not
them
many
in my
elbow guys
lifetime.
out there.
No,
I don't think I've ever seen a woman's elbow
I
before.
don't think so either.
You should look.
It's
They're
worth.
different than ours.
I mean, I've seen.
You never looked at your wife's elbow?
I've seen.
I don't know if that's true or not. That's not.
No, I've
that's
seen
not true.
every part of it. Right, guys. What would you say?
So most noticeable
So
feature,
what?
or what do
Most noticeable part of like the thing that jumps out
Eyes.
immediately? Eyes.
Eyes.
You're an eye guy.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's the first instance of acknowledgement.
Yeah.
I think for most people, but certainly for women, I would say.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
What's the ideal
Eyes.
color?
Ooh,
The
What
ideal
color?
for you?
doesn't
No,
matter.
no. So this is the thing. It's all relative.
Shape.
relative.
It's all of it.
It's all relative. So like I don't essentially. I actually was asked this earlier today. In regards to like I don't have a type specifically. If I were to say, it's really the form
Mm.
of itself.
Now,
You know what I
form.
mean?
Are we talking?
The form. Well,
Now you're getting
What?
into his territory.
this guy. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is what he's
Yeah,
about.
so he's
It's
trying
about-
to show you where he's
I
headed.
swear to God, Mike, if you start rubbing your nipples while I speak and I talk about this,
Dude.
I'm not going to be offended. I just don't want you to make Dave upset.
No.
He's obviously a little,
That
Whoa.
would excite
a little
Dave,
perturbed
and we know
today.
that.
What? shape. What are you talking about? Let's get. First of all, what do you see? What is the thing you look for, bro?
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, what's the thing
you
like
speak about this.
on record?
Right, hey, calm
the thing
down,
that's been
man. Why
jumping out
angry?
because I'm pissed, man.
Why are you? Here, fucking
Just the thing,
trade
man.
shoes. Here, well, how big are your goddamn feet?
No, 14s. You can never.
Oh God, no! Oh my God, it's gonna rip my toms. I was gonna help you out there.
12. I appreciate the Tom hookup.
No, I didn't want you to be angry.
Thank you, dude.
You're welcome.
Mike. No, I'm mad at him.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No. What is something for real? Like noticeably over the years when you've seen a woman, you've been like, I noticed that's the first thing that draws me in. That's why that's the initial point of attraction for me.
I think there's something about. I appreciate when people
Look at him trying to
don't.
lie.
No. I appreciate when people don't. They don't follow like trends or anything. They just like they do something and it's like unique, different, and it's just them. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's style, whether that's a hairstyle, whether that's anything.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you on that one.
I'm drawn to that.
That's
I'm like,
a very
who's that?
attractive
Absolutely.
quality.
Who
Dude.
is that?
That's a very attractive. When you're one of one and you can
The
sense that,
existential quality, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
man. Oh,
Nailed it, bro.
that's a
What,
great. No, that's
dude?
just a
Nailed it.
great
Hey, we know
answer.
what
No,
you
that
look
is
What are you talking about, dude? No, dude.
Mike, that was
man.
honestly a
What?
fantastic
That's
answer. You're amazing. You.
Thank you, man.
I wanted to tell you guys
Truly.
a quick story.
Please.
This is how I was always built, and this is I'm not kidding. This is real.
I'm scared.
Ford Tough.
No, see, you're gonna make a joke, but this is real.
I'm done. I just had to get it out of my system.
I am, and I feel like there's a part of me that's that, but there's a part of me that's a part of Bukowski.
Please.
I'm very soft. I was raised by women.
He's more of a sport soft.
I'm soft.
Yeah.
But when it came to who I would pursue, women, even when I was young, it was never the most like universally attractive woman, right? To me, that wasn't attractive.
Mm-hmm.
There was a situation where I was in a parking lot. I think I must have been 15. And there was like one of my friend's older cousins brought like Jägermeister. Right? Awful. I never drank before. It was the first time I ever had a sip of alcohol. Right? So I'm in this Dunkin' Donuts parking, and that's what you used to do when you were a kid, right? And I didn't really get to go out like that. So when I was out, it was like a rare occurrence.
Dude.
Got the older cousins, they brought the Jägermeister, so I had a sip. I'm like, dude,
Jaeger's tough.
this is crazy. But two girls show up. Oh man, I hope I don't get in trouble for this. Two girls show up.
It's okay. We're here.
One of them is more universally attractive, let's say.
Sure.
Right? Just what you would think of when you're a teen.
Right.
The other one, I would say, I don't know how to word it.
Homely.
Homely's a nice way of putting it.
Take the onus off yourself. The social perception by observation and by way would be more perceived. This one being more favorable, and
There
the
you
other
go.
one not so favorable.
Boom. I was gonna like go down like a
We
different
just
route.
need that for like every episode.
That's what I wish
need,
you were
like,
here to just
explanations.
help. Like, Walter!
I'll just-
and you were just like,
I'll just sit in the corner like an
Yeah,
asshole with
Dave,
like
pause,
like some
and then this.
an arrogant big word
Sports
guy in
analyst.
the
Because
corner.
we could bleep it. But I was
So
gonna,
this is what they actually
right. I was gonna because bleep it. I was gonna say just heavy, right? I don't know if that's no. I don't no. I don't know if that's wrong to say or not. So I'm just, that's why I'm glad.
It's an observation. It's not
It was just at the
it's not
time-
necessarily
That's tough.
again.
nothing
you-
wrong with that.
Again,
Nothing wrong with that. Not that I'm not attracted. I wasn't attracted to her. I'm just saying that was the state of the situation,
100%.
right? Objectively.
Now, let me just give you. Let me
ahead.
just say.
Go ahead.
There's next time.
Yep.
Don't compare it as like one's more attractive and the other one's heavy. Maybe
Bleep that.
that's not the best way to say it.
Bleep that
probably.
again. Bleep that
or
again.
it could be
Because
like
you're comparing attractive and
I didn't mean to do with that.
it
I'm
could,
simple. I'm very simple.
I feel you.
it could be he could have it could also be like the Marty McFly
Yeah.
Back to the
Absolutely.
Future
True.
instance of heavy.
True,
You know,
true.
it's like, oh, heavy. That's heavy, doc.
100%.
Yeah.
And again, it was,
There's that word
that's
again.
what I meant.
Heavy.
That's what I meant.
I love heavy.
Walter.
Yeah.
There he is.
I'm here, bro. Just call me anytime. I'll
Sure.
translate.
So they come in this convertible and you know,
So they're friends. They come
friends.
together.
They come
okay.
together. And the
I'll
one
put
is
myself there.
she knows, I guess she speaks to a lot of, at the moment she knew what she was and she felt, you know, she was confident, right?
100%.
And I was immediately not attracted to it.
Mm.
Immediately. And it wasn't a good confidence. It was like I'm better than all of you type of swagger.
Sure.
So right away I was like, wrong. And I knew that about myself early on. Like, I would rather speak to someone who spoke to nobody. That someone who was like stuck in a book, unsocial, like didn't want nothing to do with no one, didn't care how anyone perceived them.
Right.
Super attractive to me.
Right.
So their friend was there, and because of that attitude, I fully latched on to her friend. But it wasn't I will say it was like an act. I was playing it up because I wanted to teach. This
You were teaching a lesson.
well, I mean, that's wrong.
Wow.
So now I'm that's wrong.
Wow.
So
I was a kid. I was a kid.
You know what?
I was a
Dave,
kid.
You did God's work there, pal.
No, I was.
You know what?
I don't
She
say no.
deserves it.
Just I'm not attracted to it.
Fair enough. That was. I love you in
love
so
you
many
too.
ways. But it's one of those things. Like I love how like you needed universal justice to occur in that moment.
That's my
Of,
biggest
like,
problem, bro.
Well, your
That's
issue.
my Achilles heel.
You don't like the superficial. It has nothing to do with the person. Person. It's not personal.
Nothing. Not personal.
The idea that there could be an instance of someone being arrogant enough and self-aware enough to seat themselves higher with others, and then having a society that supports the more than and lesser than, and that equate to personality and or goodness. Where it was somebody who said like one of the biggest human flaws is mistaking beauty for goodness.
That's right.
And that essentially that. So you were angry at that, like an existential fire of like anarchist punk. And I love that, bro. Punk. Dude, that's very punk rock. And you were like, screw this. I'm going to like undo this.
Can I say this to you guys?
Please.
I realize now as an adult working through my shit that I was her. That I was that girl who felt herself so much, that cared so much about how the world perceived her. But there's versions of people where like they know that, and people that don't know that. And I knew it. I knew I cared about how I looked. I knew I cared about how I was perceived by other people. I knew if I pulled up in that convertible, I wasn't going to be like, I know I'm this shit. But I was going to try to like manipulate and work my magic to be like that. To have you see me like the hot girl. You know what I mean? Like, so I know now that's why I was trying to correct it as a kid.
So you were aware enough to know that it had value in society.
Yeah, but it was
and you
wrong,
wanted
man.
that value.
I was wrong. I don't want to say wrong or right. I dislike that part of myself as a kid, and I can see it now as an adult for what it is. And if I'm not careful, I can backslide into that kind of mentality.
I'll personally, I don't mean to. Do you have anything to say, Mike? I know you were.
No.
He's still going back to like, why did he use the word heavy? He's very upset with that.
No.
What are you thinking?
Well, as a heavy guy.
Me too. Me too. I was as well. I took that personally as well. I'm gonna hug him.
No, I think
back now.
I don't know. I never thought of you as you would deceive to. No, I don't know. I think I agree with you. I have that thing in me too, but I just feel like I could never truly like flip the switch and be like, you know what, dude, I'm the fucking shit.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
You're not that guy. You're not that guy.
I wonder sometimes. I'm like, what if I just?
That's not you.
Will that happen once I'm like,
nope,
done at the journey, man?
That's why I was so like attracted to you. Why can't I say that? Right? And he's got.
No, you can. It was the best compliment he's received in a long time.
When I saw you and I watched you, when I watched you move, when I watched your moves in life, watch how you got down, I was attracted to it. And I was like, dude, I want to make that guy my friend.
Sure.
Why can't I see that?
You catch me off guard, man.
No, yeah.
So you danced the Macarena one night.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong.
I can say
no, it's a beautiful thing. You admire the instances, the moving and shaking.
Found you attractive.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Man. Thank
that
you.
word was cut in half.
Thank you.
And that's why I was like drawn to you. Some would say called to you.
Thank you.
Cold. I agree.
Your Crocs are uncalling me.
Yeah, you guys want me to leave for a couple minutes?
Can you get out of here? What?
Yeah, I can.
Sorry. We're having a moment.
It's all right.
No, bro.
Don't let me distort it. I don't want to mess this up. I feel like
I'm married, guys.
I don't want to be an intrusion,
No, and it's a spectrum. Here's the thing. Well,
Let's look at our last.
I want to shift. No, I know. I want to shift to a serious. All jokes aside,
Yeah,
We
keep
like to
going,
have
guys.
fun.
Start getting off the
I didn't know if you knew that we like to have fun. We don't know where the moment
guys like
goes.
to
It's
have
called
fun?
the You Are Here podcast, and we like to have fun.
I'm not having a good time.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sweating with laughter.
Bro, I'm being... He doesn't say it's just... I won't Van Damme face you
Dude,
anymore.
I want to know what is. Don't laugh, man. That's a real question for
You're
what?
still all over the place. I like it.
I know this is it. You so I am. What?
It's one of the things that attracted Mike to you.
Thank you, man.
That's why he's laughing.
Don't put words in
Thanks a lot. What do you find? What do you find in your life so far has been the moment where you were like at a low point and you had to make a? Did something happen like that pulled you out of that? Did you have to like pull up your bootstraps by yourself and like get yourself out of the situation? Like, were you called to a situation and like you just life moved you in a different direction? Like, I guess, yeah, that's my question. Like, what was like a super low point for you? Maybe I don't want to like, if you don't want to talk about it, we don't talk about it, but like a low point for you. I won't say the lowest, but a low point for you that like, I don't know. Are you still in it, or did you make a shift, or did something occur, or did an energy get involved? Like, I'm just curious about, because we all hit low points, man, and I'm always curious to like know each person's like valley, because it kind of informs like to me like who they are.
Trajectory.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I mean, all right, I'll get personal with you guys. Don't worry, it's not going to get too serious. It's
Okay.
fine.
Not sad. Not sad.
It is going to be sad.
No, don't do this.
Yeah, all right, then I'm not.
No.
I'm not gonna do it
I'm
then.
linking it, please.
No, I mean, low points, that's a really good question. A couple years ago, I lost somebody very close to me. The girl I had been dating romantically, who I'd known my entire life, essentially.
Come on.
Love of my life. And it's interesting, you know, just a little backstory. Like I said, we knew each other our entire lives. Our parents knew each other. We grew up, went to like Sunday school, I guess, together, middle school, high school together. You know, she has had a twin sister, so I knew both of them very well. And as all things happen, you go through high school and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, obviously life happens. You get out of that. You go to college, you know, live your life. We all, you know, I went on tour, did my thing. She did her thing. And it's interesting how, like, out of the blue, you know, the world life just kind of brings you into anyone, back with someone, or you know, brings people from your past, and all of a sudden, it's like meeting somebody for the first time. And that's exactly what had happened. Like, not looking for anything, and this is why it's like, you know, there's never a search for anything. You know, it goes back to that saying that I love, that I tell you all the time. It's like, what is meant for us can never leave us, and what's not could never stay. You know, so it's a bit, essentially, I take from that is that everything that's meant to happen that's for you in this life, experience-wise, it's waiting for you to just show up for it. You know what I mean? So it's a really cool thing. Anyway, I digress. So like years later, like I would say right before the big 2020 year, I guess you could say, like I think it was the end of that. Yeah. End of that year? No. End of 2019 into 2020. I think that's what it was. So just reconnecting out of the blue, like always been friendly, always like hung out. I always thought she was like, you know, awesome. We always were like friends growing up, but for whatever reason, you know, it's lost on you when you're like in that microcosm of like high school or something like that, where it's like, who are these people, you know, not knowing that some of them are going to be really important down the road, you know? And you don't think about it at the time, right? Because it's this microcosm, and it's like you're thinking about the world being so big and waiting to get out there to meet the real people. And it's interesting. Anyway, I digress again. But like we reconnected out of nowhere, out of the blue. And it was just like, well, this is what's going on in my life. Oh, this is what's going on in my life. All right, well, what are you doing tomorrow? Well, actually, I've had off of work. All right, good. Well, pick me up at this time. Let's go grab coffee. I'll show you my life. You show me yours. And it was like out of nowhere, no prerequisite stuff. And it was like the most beautiful thing because it was reconnecting. It's like meeting the person for the first time. And it was beautiful. And it was like, it just all of a sudden went from this instance of just kind of getting together, like friendly, and it, like almost instantly, I think for both of us, it was very like, holy shit. like, where the hell did this come from? It was beautiful. And yeah, so I mean, a couple years go by, health complications later and so on. And, you know, she had ended up, you know, very sadly passing away. You know, pretty, how would you say, unexpectedly too. And as you can imagine, that was pretty tough, to say the least. And, you know, certainly I would say, I mean, obviously you don't know what's going to happen in life, whatever the case, but it's, as you know, you have your wife. And Mike, do you have a wife or a significant other of any kind? You got everything. It's good. Not nothing. You got me. You got Dave. He's really handsome today. But, you know, within the instance, and I'm sure regardless, you've had experiences. We all have. You know what I mean? Where all of a sudden there's somebody who you meet and come across and it's just like they just feel like home. You know? Like there's, you know, and as you know, you guys know me. I'm an odd guy. Not like bad weird, but strange. We have our strange ways. All of us, divine madness, all of us are creatives are weird. So it's one of those things you go around, like half my life I thought I was an alien. You know, it's like I'm very strange, very different from most people, whatever case. Never really feel belonging. And I think that's just an artist's way of being, thinking differently, perceiving things differently, you know, so on and so forth. You know, it's the first time where it's like, holy crap, like, this person just knows me. Just, there's no, how would you say, like, there's no, like, prerequisite kind of explanation or any kind of thing. It's just, there's an understanding, there's an acceptance, there's a love, there's a support, there's no words for it. It's just, yep, makes sense, you know? So, needless to say, the severity of it, you know, she's definitely the love of my life. And it's been a couple years now, obviously. It's been, the end of this year will be 2 years. So it's somewhat recent, somewhat new, somewhat fresh. And yeah, I mean, as anybody who's been in the same situation I am, or anybody who's lost anybody, it's difficult to begin with. But obviously, you know, you're in that place and you start making plans for the future and what it looks like, where it looks like, you know, so you hate to do that, but it's in humanity to do such a thing. You know, you don't want to have expectations. You don't want to, because we don't know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now, but it's always nice to think about it, you know, especially when it's something good. And it definitely, you know, to put it, it's definitely flipped my world upside down a little bit, as it did her family, obviously, you know. And it's like any loss of someone, especially someone young, especially someone, you know, that's always the biggest thing. It's like, you know, how old were they, you know? And it's like, it's not good regardless, I think, you know, depending, it's always hard and saddening regardless of the case, but it is more so in that instance when someone passes with, presumably so much more life to live and things to do. And yeah, I mean, it definitely threw me off my game in terms of just myself. You know, it's always, there's so much more to learn after that experience. And I would say that, as all things, you never get over things. You're not supposed to, you know, and I feel like that's always the instance of especially in passings. It's like, oh, give it time and all this stuff. And, you know, and as you know, it's like, yeah, time, absolutely, but it never goes away. It never becomes less than. It stays the same size. I think our experience becomes larger. But it's always the same, you know, and it's always there. And, you know, it certainly has turned me off to the idea of, let's say, like casually dating for the most part. Not necessarily even for the instance of, you know, feeling any kind of guilt or feeling of that nature. I thought it was guilt at first. And then I tried going out on a date, you know, like my father being the Italian guy that he is. Like, I'll have my blazer on that you guys make fun of. Whatever. I got to get you guys both blazers, by the way. So, like, I'll be wearing that. Oh, you know, well, where are you going looking so good? Are you going on a date or something? You got a date? always saying in jest, but always certainly innocently enough, even right after, but almost kind of like people around us who care about us the most always want to see us being happy and like, hey, get back on that horse kind of thing. So it was definitely like more of an encouragement thing. But, down the road, I especially always think of it, or at least just getting back together and just kind of perceiving something. And I will say that some time afterwards, I tried. And I sat there at the table. I think they excused themselves, used the restroom, whatever the case. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, just sort of laughing. I was like, it's not that I feel guilty. I just don't want to be anywhere with anyone else. And it's just, that's kind of, the instance and where it is. And obviously it becomes difficult because it's loss, it's loss of that. You miss the person, future plans no longer come, the reevaluation of just self and place. And it was there's obviously a lot of emotions, like when anybody passes away. There's anger, there's guilt, there's sadness, there's, all of the above. The happy times, the memories you think of that make you sad in turn, and so on and so forth. And, the anger of it is certainly like, what the hell? It's like you go through a whole life, in this instance, at least this was the narrative that I told myself. It's like, whole life knowing this person. And granted, there's a reason why you don't meet people and you had to live your life to be the person and so on and so on, all that kind of stuff. This is my problem. I'm sure it is yours too. Intellectualize things way too much. Can never just be what it is. Anyway, I digress. Whole life knowing this person, go through this whole instance of it, girlfriend prior, and not even with that, just like as a point of reference, was long distance from previous relationship that I was in. And, we still have a great friendship and all that stuff. But, Pittsburgh, like long time or distance away. And here this person lives 6 minutes from me my entire life. It's just like there's the humor of it. Like the universe has a very dark sense of humor. And it is funny if you think about it, the irony in that. And, the love of my life lives 6 minutes from me, not 6 hours. My whole life. And I just never saw it. And it is the irony in that too, where it's like, it's getting to this point and you only have so much time. There was only so much time. And selfishly, I feel cheated, but I think that's natural. Mm-hmm. But it's more so, obviously, for her, having passed with, again, presumably so much time ahead to do all the things that she wanted to do together, but certainly for herself, just to know that and be in support of what's to come, So, needless to say, that definitely threw me off for a little while. And it's something that it's still very much a part of my days, but it's interesting, like when you're kind of living life and it's just, the days just start turning, you know what I mean? As much as you try to, I don't know if you guys have ever felt that, but like if you've lost anyone, I mean, obviously you lose people that are close, but you almost like perceive time, and time and distance being the same thing, actually, the same exact thing. But you lose someone, it's like all of a sudden it's like everything just stops for yourself, but it's almost like, player 2 exited the game. That that's it. There's just void. And then from that moment, you try to get back. Pardon me, as I break your microphone. You try to go backwards. Internally, you try to go back. But you actually feel like the earth moving under your feet. And the day just rolling on. Like a slow steamroller. And there's no going back. You feel that distance over time. And yeah, I don't know what I was getting to with that, but that's essentially the expression that you kind of feel. I'm kind of enduring still to this day, that feeling. And then also, with that time being in between that distance, as it were, I don't know if that loss and obviously missing her will be with me for the rest of my life, as it is with everybody, you know, for any kind of loss. But I think that's, how would you say? I think it's become so much a part of myself that it's not in the forefront, but it's always there all the time, in the sense that it has become a part of who I am. You know, certainly not just the grief of it all, but, you know, her in general, and the experiences and all these things that look about. And as I'm sure you guys can attest to, sometimes it just comes in like waves, you know, sometimes like nostalgia, like, you know, anything of that nature, screw nostalgia, you know, in those moments. And some days are better, some days not so great, but it's just a very different experience. Means something different in that regard. So, and I get it. I mean, I'm not the only one. It's interesting. It's like, if you consider like people that have been together, older couples that have been together for like 40 years, 50 years, you know, so on and so forth. Like that's what I couldn't imagine. You know, that's something I always think about too. Like it's a long time, you know? So I don't know. It's, yeah, learned a lot from it. And it's interesting, there's still so many things that she's teaching me that she's gone. Not as like a spirit or anything, but, you know, sometimes it's weird. But in terms of like things that were said or things that she had said to me that I didn't really fully hear, it's like there's so many times where I'll just be like, you know, son of a, you know, yeah, I know, babe, you're right. You know, it's like one of the like instances that keep reminding me, and it's almost like so many things that she had taught me, and so many things that have and will inevitably, I'm very keen on believing, you know, make me a better person in a lot of ways for myself and for others. And that's a really beautiful part about it, you know? But yeah, I'm going to stop talking now because I feel like I'm just running on.
Sorry you went through that, dude.
Thanks, man. Such is life.
It's the hardest thing, dude, is that we lose.
Yeah. I told you we were going to get real gothic.
See,
about it.
you
asked for
weren't
sad.
kidding, man.
I gave you sad.
It's my biggest fear. It's the hardest thing
Yeah.
that we go through is the fact that we do lose each other at some point.
Certainly.
And we're all going to go through it. Just, sorry. When do you...
Don't be.
Fuck.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you put it was... it's perfect. Like, when you find people that feel like home, man. You don't, like, you can't contemplate what it's like to, like, lose that. Especially so early, man. So I can't even imagine, but, like, it's the hardest thing we all go through at some point, man. And it's hard to make sense of that, you know? And I'm sorry that you've had experience that so, before it could play out to what it could have been. And I know that would eat me up. So, yeah, I was looking at photos. Fuck.
I will say that it's. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
sorry, dude.
I will say that I'm sorry for being this, you know, bringing this. It's heavy.
It's like
that word again. But it is though, and I don't know. I don't personally. I mean, regardless of what we all know, what we all think, I know that, you know, this stuff. It's not the end, and it's not.
No, it's not.
There's no such thing.
Can't be.
No, and I think, and if there's any consolation, I've been asked how I know and so confident about it. And it's really the instance that love is the only thing that, how would you say, transverses or what am I trying to say? Like, traverses, that's the word. Thank you. But yeah, traverses time and space,
That's
all
right.
time and space. How could my love continue to grow for someone who's
Not here.
not physically here?
That's right.
Every day. It grows as if she were here still.
Yeah.
How does that happen otherwise?
It's a beautiful thing we get to like have that in a thing that is finite right here.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing. You get the chance to like experience that briefly for a while. Just hold on to it while you got it.
Right.
Just appreciate what you have while you have it. And it's a beautiful dance while the song is playing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll never, anything that I'll ever say, it's never a justification, right? There's no justification for anything.
No.
There's nothing justifying or making it okay.
No.
Because it's not okay.
No.
Not okay when it happens ever.
That's
It
right.
really isn't.
That's right.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
It's not okay. We all know that. I think we could all agree with that. Agree on that point. But it's, whether I really don't believe it's a consolidation that we tell ourselves. I think in lieu, and not even to mention any instance of it being something compartmentalized into a belief structure of any kind.
Yeah.
But within the human being and all of us, whatever we decide to call it or however we express to feel it or not, it's a knowing. It's a universal, inherent, intuitive, not belief, but knowing and knowledge that like, nah, this is not the reality of things. It's very true. And sure, I mean, we all use it, again, it's a natural instance of obviously feeling guilt, feeling anger, the woulda, shoulda, couldas start coming out. And that is all crap. Because it wouldn't have.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have, and it couldn't have. As far as I'm concerned. It's just, I mean, I'd like to think otherwise, like not even to sound, again, like this is just intellectually trying to process something that doesn't even really need an explanation.
Right.
And that's really what it comes down to. But again, non-justifiable. Does it suck? Yeah. Is it awful? Yeah. Is it feeling bad for everyone involved? Certainly. Is it feeling worse and absolutely awful for the absolutely more so above and beyond? Nothing makes it okay.
Oh, dude.
Ever. And it never has been okay throughout all of human history.
Never has been.
Never has been.
That's right.
Never has been okay.
Man, what a blessing though it is to get the chance to like do it.
Right.
The chance to like, it's just living presently is the answer there. I don't know. There is no answer.
No.
The
But
only
no,
thing I
you're
can hang my hat on
you're
is, like,
100%.
you get the opportunity to act in love, in loving ways with people that come into your life in a some kind of poetic, beautiful tornado, and you get the chance to like fully be at home with them for a time that you can't judge. You have no say on when or where or how long or whatever.
No.
But you get that opportunity, man. And that's the part you get to hang your hat on. And the rest is the cost of that dance, man.
Right.
Like, unfortunately.
But fortunately in a lot of ways too. And that's not to say like, oh well, that's fine because we'll be okay. You know what I mean? We're going that way too.
We're headed there,
it's just a matter of when, not if. So all to say, there's no sadness about it, at least personally what I've come to understand from the circumstances that for myself is that there's no way that I'm going to let that sadness compromise the appreciation and gratitude that I'll have for the time that was spent.
That's right.
That I appreciate above and beyond. Like I said, almost 2 years later, I'm still learning from her. From things she said, things she's done, things she's just her person. And if this is, if it, from an existential standpoint or reincarnate, then whatever you want to think about it, if this is the only instance in the soul's lifetime that we were able to coalesce in a physical form here at this place in this time, in that instance, in that way, it's something I'll cherish forever. And I'm grateful. And, it is beautiful.
That's beautiful.
And it is very poetic in a lot of ways, that instance.
Dude.
I
have so much respect for you, man. Like, truly. Not that I didn't before. It's grown multitudes just with you sharing that. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for letting me be vulnerable and share it.
100%.
It's rare that I talk about it. So
I appreciate
not saying that to myself, but it's rare that I have the opportunity and am invited to talk about it. So thank you.
You're more than invited to talk about it. And I feel like I'm learning something, because I struggle with that very much,
with
it's just the loss of people I love the most.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I cling on to the idea of like this is forever, and I can't even venture into the realm of like the reality of the situation sometimes, which I know is inevitably coming, right? That's just my thing that I'm working on and have been working on. But I can't even go there. So sometimes, to just, to vulnerably get a perspective on someone who has been there. And, I've attended like grief share groups in the past for like research and stuff. And I just feel so grateful that people are willing to share that experience. So I know it's different for everybody.
It is, absolutely.
And you seem to have, and you said there's good days and bad days, but to share all of it, and to see where you're at today with it, you kind of, in my eyes, it seems like you've worked through it, and you're working through it. You also protect the treasure that was that time with that person. It doesn't take away from, you don't allow emotion to take away from what a treasure that time was and what an experience that was with that person.
And we try not to.
Yeah.
It's a practice like anything else, man. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know shit about anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
None of us do.
None of us
Especially
do.
with this.
I don't think so. I think there are pleasant words that could be said. There's ways, there are people who have described certain things, and, like our favorite authors, favorite writers, favorite, artists, which is why artists are incredibly valuable, and art and expression is important, because we're all just trying to figure out how to traverse life and how to do it, how to understand it. For some reason we feel like we have to understand it all the time. It's when I try, that's one battle I have with myself all the time. Stop giving everything a name.
I struggle with that too.
Stop. Why do you have to name it? Why does it have to be a thing? Why do you have to analyze
simply
it?
Life, and you won't understand.
Let it be.
Yeah.
It is. Just look at it.
You can't understand.
Admire it for what it is. Acknowledge it for what it is, and acknowledge what you're feeling. Move on. But it's like in all things, it's a practice. I think it's just. And listen, and basically what I'm trying to say is like, it sounds good. That's what I try to do. But absolutely, emotions win some days.
Yeah.
And some days I'm just angry as shit.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's cool.
There's no right or wrong in that. Yeah,
there's no right or wrong in any of that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like anger's good.
But I think that's a win in itself. Well, I think that's you could say nice words or not. That's a beautiful thing to remind yourself of, is that you're not judging yourself for what you're feeling, and some may. So I think that lesson could be learned in the experience that you've shared, and where you're at with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, again, thank you guys for letting me share that.
Dude,
I appreciate asking.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for inviting me to be here. And
you're welcome back anytime, bro.
Thanks, bro. I won't make you so sad next time. I'll come back with a funny story.
No one makes me cry like that. That was a tough one. You hit something there.
I'm sorry. I have a lot of really good tour stories. We don't have to make it on the podcast. I can even tell you guys too.
We'll get into that.
All right, cool. I got tour stories. Maybe I might have to phone friends. I might have to get the band online to confirm.
Phone some friends.
But there are some photographers.
I met your boy at the cafe, right? He was a drummer back then.
Absolutely.
So he would have some stories.
He could tell you stories about stories. But I might need to reach out to people for photographic evidence of the stories to validate and confirm.
Yeah, man. Dude, I don't know what else to talk about.
I'm sorry.
What do you feel?
I'm
like?
sorry.
No, it's not a sorry thing. I'm so glad. Like, I feel like, dude, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't said anything. I
sorry.
just really love and appreciate that you were able, you're willing to share that with us. And
Thank you.
I think it just shows that you have like a beautiful soul.
Yeah.
And you're strong.
Yep.
And that's very,
Thank you.
Just lifts, I think, me and Dave up.
Mm-hmm.
In a way. And just thank you.
Thank you.
It's a
I love you guys.
thing about, I love you too, man. It's a thing about when you are brave enough and willing enough to share with people your story. I think I wrote, there's nothing, it doesn't cost a candle anything to light another. It doesn't cost a flame anything to light another. And so often I'm scared of perception or a response or, first thought, started crying. I'm like, oh, I hope I'm not looked at like a certain way because of that. But the truth is, if we're willing to do that with each other more often, and I think that's what our mission, it sounds cheesy when we say it, but I do feel this way. The mission is like to do this more often, man, like to be willing to, at the cafe when I see you, say, I'm not having a good day. Here's why. Right. Or, here's a funny joke I heard. I hope you laugh about it or whatever. But to be willing to look you in the eye and like show you who I am today and to really want to know where you're at. Because I know I'm going to benefit and you're going to benefit. And then the environment around us is going to benefit from these situations, right? That's what I believe in my heart. That's what I think has to happen more often. And I'm just grateful you were game for that today, dude. And I had a feeling you would be.
Thank you for allowing me.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
So you're welcome back anytime,
well,
dude.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Dude, come on, man. Of course, dude. Before we go, is there anything else you want to shout out? Is there anything you want to ask us? Or is there anything at all you want to get off your chest before we close out the episode today?
What's your Patreon?
Patreon.com/slash You Are Here podcast.
I say it again one more time.
Patreon.com/You Are Here.
Send that money.
Like and subscribe.
No, I really appreciate you guys so much. I wish I had something funny to say about that. But I'm prepared for next time when I have something really great.
Sweet.
I'm like, hey, about that orgy.
That's gonna be the running joke. Orgy question mark.
Exactly.
That's merch. We're gonna have more.
Oh,
merch.
there you go. Exactly. But no, thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it,
dude.
Thanks. It was an honor being on the show.
Anytime,
I'm definitely gonna come bother you sometime soon.
Please, man, keep coming by.
I'm gonna bother you daily for coffee.
Keep coming by, bro. Keep coming by. It drops me into the present. It makes my day better. So please,
I'm glad as long as that's the case. Man. I went in this weekend and the gals were there, and it's like I saw that they were busy. If I may,
that's such a nice way of putting it.
So I saw that they were busy, and apparently there was a call out, and like,
oh yes.
So I see these things, right? So
someone no showed.
Someone no showed.
Can we call them out?
We're gonna head to their house now.
Yeah. I don't want to.
And we're gonna beat them up. No, we don't do that.
I don't want to say it. I almost said it, but I don't want to.
Zip it. We'll talk about it later, and we'll talk about it in the orgy. Maybe like sweet nothings.
Yeah, man.
Now we welcome the orgies.
Oh yeah. So so sure enough, so I go in there, they're busy, whatever the case. Obviously I've been in retail and customer service, and it's like, no, like just there's certain moments where it's like, just don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm running around. However, I took this on the front. I think I asked one who I'll express to you later in the orgy. Okay. I noticed there's a lot of people that were super busy and everything. So I know that breaking the ice for people visiting or patrons, I guess, of the store.
Yes.
I find that breaking the ice allows people to understand people on a people level. So it's like, I'm going to give you a name and I'm going to acknowledge you and I'm going to ask you how your holiday was, or how your weekend was.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, instead of this person just being a face who's going to hand me coffee in a transaction.
Robot.
This is a person with feelings and with all these kinds of things. So I saw that this person might not be aware of that, but I did it on purpose. And I was like, you know, so how was your 4th of July? Like, how's it going? Like, whatever the case. And I walked over on the side where I usually just chew your ear off for like an hour or something like that. And she
oh no,
she looked at me. She was so sweet about it. But like, yeah, sorry, you know, like we're just kind of busy today. Had to call out.
Oh yeah.
Almost kind of be like, yo, dude, screw off. Please don't try to talk to me.
No, that's there's some respect, because not everyone would do that.
100%. Yeah. I feel like half of it was like, I'm sorry that I can't speak
it's not
with you right now.
thing.
I think that's what it is.
It's a us thing.
But it was also one of those things of like, just letting you know, got to run around. Obviously, I knew I'm going to see you. Last thing I'm going to do is like hold you up. 100%. You know who it was.
Yeah, I know.
And
I know.
you know exactly who it is.
No, I'm coming to find you.
Yeah, no, I know.
We're going to start talking to
find you. That's it. But no, that was good. And then it was like, I don't know. I like to do that because I used to go in when I was like, had breaks or something, and I'd go in and kind of like liven it up a little bit. Yeah. And obviously, it's amazing once you assign like a name to a person. Everybody's like,
different.
Hi, hey, what's up? Yeah. So I had a crazy weekend.
You justify that I'm a living human being, and therefore I want to like share time with you.
It's amazing. It's like all of a sudden everything's black and white now. It's like tapped with color. And it's
I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate it. Not everyone treats you that way.
No, of course.
You know how it is.
Of course. Do you guys have any other questions for me? Any other things you'd like to say to yourself? Crocs, unacceptable.
Unacceptable. There's a whole story behind that. We got to get to next time.
It's really the socks thing.
Walt showed me a whole where Crocs were made fun of in pop culture, and how like nobody thought that they'd become a thing, and now they're now a thing. Yeah, there's a whole backstory.
There's a whole backstory. We'll discuss.
King of it.
Well, he knew the whole story of it. I didn't even know.
There you go.
And now Crocs are a thing. Well, at least to me they are. To me, they are.
I respect that.
I'm hiding my feet under
the sock thing is what really bothers me.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, guys. You're gonna see some heel once.
When's your birthday?
It passed. It just passed.
What do you mean?
June.
When was it? Oh, that's right. I did.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
I had a last question.
Go ahead, buddy.
Please.
What's some sort of newer music that's like impressed you, inspired you, given you hope for the future? That's like
good question.
You know, we're getting run by AI.
Rocky Rocco
stuff being made.
I'm a jerk, man.
You're missing
anything out there?
I know. I need to go. You're
missing out. I'm trying to get her on the. I need to reach out to her.
I need to go on the show. I turned my phone off. I'm sorry. I turned my phone off for you guys.
Dude, I appreciate that. No one does that. No one does that.
Off.
That's
thank you, man.
Fucking sick.
Wow.
Proof.
Look at that.
Reset. No, but
I'm actually going to look up some new bands. That's what I'm going to do.
You big time Rocky Rocco. You big timed her too,
bro.
You Hollywooded Rocky Rocco just like you Hollywooded us, and now you.
I didn't realize I was so big time. I'm like big timing everybody, and I don't even notice it. It's really just a lack of conscientiousness. Again, like I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't even know what day it is. I don't know what's happening. I know I have work to do. I show up, I do it, and then I like get back to people. But like, yeah, I have. I know it's all the crazy these days, but neurodivergency is definitely on this side of the couch. You know?
I understand.
Just forget these things.
I understand, bro. Rocky Rocco's one to look out for. I'm trying to get her on the pod.
Music is fantastic. I really need to see it. Dude, but he told me for months. He's like, you got to see this person.
I've been trying
to have the schedule
because I feel like they would, work together. Yeah. She doesn't have much out, but I've seen her perform live at the cafe, dude. Yeah.
Really good.
Moving.
Very
no joke. She played an original where she was singing about when you're playing in a situation where like people aren't really listening, like at a bar, at like what places she's playing, like cafe or whatever, and how it's like, but to you it's like everything, you know what I mean? And the song permeated. It didn't even matter. Like to me, it didn't matter. The content was so personal, and her production of it, like her performance of it, was so good. I was like, I thought about it for days after, dude. I was blown away. It's rare you see that at like where we work or where we used to work or whatever.
As I told you, one of the artists that I'm working with that I need to get back to about doing another song with, or I guess the first song that we're working together, I ended up meeting her. We ended up befriending one another at an open mic night where she performed. And like one of the most amazing, just stopping in.
Yeah.
Just checking it out. One of the most beautiful singers. Yeah. Beautiful people, whatever the case. Like amazing. Yeah. We work together well. Man. I don't know. Just at open mics. So I believe it, man. It's amazing.
That's the place to be, man.
It's amazing. It's crazy. It's amazing how so many talented people are around, especially our area too. I mean, it's not surprising, but it's amazing.
No, it's on every block, dude. They're on every corner, man. There's talent to be found. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
So no, don't be sorry. You should be sorry. That's the third time I've had to tell you this. So please don't let it happen again. I'm trying to answer Mike's question. You mind?
Dude, damn it. Why'd I have to insert myself?
These Italians, this like this.
This is what I do.
I can say that.
Gabagoats.
I know, it's good. I will say you guys would actually really love. I'm really digging this one song, this artist who I came across, but certainly this song. I might be butchering the last name, but I don't, or the name in general, but I might not be. Her name is Sofia Sabaya Vastek, and she's a pianist and composer. And I saw a video, probably on social media, one of the only good things about that stuff, and she was performing this song, and it was like one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard in my life. And Sophia, she's got tons of backlog stuff on Spotify. I'm going to send it to you guys. This one song of hers, The Seas That Made Us. Oh, and the seas, like oceans, like that.
Great title.
That made us. Beautiful. But this song, exactly like I was saying before, where like I was just listening. And this is what I like on repeat, just brilliant. Just absolutely magnificent. One of the greatest like musicians that I've heard in a very long, like it's incredible. I will send it to you guys. And then, I guess there are other couple bands, but there were some newer ones. I'm going to get back to you on that. But there was one called Fleshwater, Flesh Water, Water, and all one word.
I wouldn't drink that, whatever that is.
It's awesome. Right? Fleshwater. It's such a cool name, but it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it's female fronted, if I'm not mistaken. It's so raw and it's so punk rock and it's so of the early 2000s, like punk rock era. It's at least what I've heard of it. It's just raw. It's messy. There's feedback. It's awesome. It's shoegazy. Yeah. So it's like super heavy. There's one song called Kiss the Ladder. It's got a synth line in it. I heard it. That was the first song. It's like a 2-minute song. I'm upset with them that it's not longer. I had to keep repeating it. It is so good.
Yeah.
Just brilliant. But up and coming. Apparently they got some cool
Flesh water.
Yeah.
That's what's in your Crocs.
No, there's no flesh water in my Crocs, dude.
How do you know, man?
Don't do that. Don't say it.
Yep.
Right?
He doesn't know, Mike.
Dave?
Yeah, Michael.
Anything else?
This is the end. Have you guys heard of the band really low-key Arcade Fire?
Yeah.
Is that Arcade Bonfire?
No. Just Arcade Fire.
It's also very white of you.
No, I wouldn't say that. Anyway.
You're flexing it.
I've been listening to Suburbs. That album was so like unique to me. That was like the time Spike Jonze meshed with them and made like their music videos for that whole album. Turned it into like a civil war in the suburbs kind of setup. And I was just getting into my acting thing. Yeah. Dude, it was so motivational. Like I listened to it all the time. But now I'm going back to it. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Anyway.
Amazing. They are very talented.
I love that time period. I just fucking love it. Anyway, that's it.
That's it.
I don't have anything else.
Baby. Thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you guys so much.
I love you. Thank you.
Love you, buddy.
Appreciate
you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for having me. Truly an honor.
You'll be back.
You'll be back.
I hope so.
If you'll have us.
If you'll have me.
If I'll well, I will, but if you'll reciprocate.
I will reciprocate.
You'll be back.
Gladly.
ORGY.
My name is Mike, and I'm signing out.
My name's Dave. I love y'all. Please be kind to yourself. Please be kind to one another.
I'm Walt. Thank you, guys. Yes. Patreon. Yes. These guys are amazing.
Don't forget it.
They're incredible.
Like and subscribe.
Donate so Dave can buy shoes that aren't Crocs.
Now I gotta really do it. Dave, you have to. Don't look behind me. We're good. Yes!